Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection. It's Valentine's Day, as you can tell by the colors we're wearing.
Yes, it is.
And the smiles on our face because we're having fun. I tell you, were it not for or discipline, we would have played another song. But good morning to all those who have joined us on air and online. Good morning to the crew in the house who are not wearing red. Both of them are in some kind of grayish, purplish pinstripe. Have you noticed?
Yes,
the
I
engineer
noticed
and the producer
them not
have gone rogue on us.
Some of the times they get the message, they get the message before.
But they got a message. They obviously got a message. It's just not the one you and I got.
Yeah.
All right. Happy Valentine's Day, Pastor Percival.
Happy Valentine's.
We're on our own.
But you know, it's so interesting as I pondered all of the stuff that has happened over the weekend, and I was sharing some of it with you. This word love is a powerful word, you know. It is a powerful thing, because in doing premarital counseling or counseling with couples, I said, tell me what love is for you. Is it the feel that you've never felt before, or is that tingling in your toes? And
sounds like gout. Tingling in your toe. If there's a tingle in your toe, have it checked out.
Yeah, but or your heart go boop 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 boop. But what comes to mind, even as we reflect on the different types of love, is the love that is described in 1 Corinthians 13, and I want to share that with our listeners this morning. And I begin with 4. It says, love is patient, love is kind. Wow. Love is patient, love is kind. It suffereth long, does not envy, vaunteth not itself, mean that it's not prideful, is not puffed up, doth not behave unseemly, mean it don't go on bad. Seeketh not its own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity. I remember all the conversation we had in terms of rejoicing. But rejoiceth in the truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Love never fails. Love never fails. And for the Christians, we believe so much in prophecies. They shall fail, whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For no in part have we prophesied, but when that which is perfect is come, then that in part shall be passed away. And then it goes on to speak about when I was a child, I thought as a child. But love is a perfect thing, because another verse of scripture, 1 John 4:19 says, perfect love casteth out all fear. If there is love, there cannot be fear. So, and I was just recounting.
And love covers a multitude of sins.
Ooh! That's it.
You know the ones that apply to you. Those with the multitude of sins need love to cover it.
Need a whole lot of love. But good morning to our listeners. Good morning. It is indeed.
And the Lord chastens those he loves. That's the one I was trying to remember because of what we were discussing in the break. Not the break, but before we came on. Yeah. Just trying to see the many faces of love and how we can respond in love while doing things that might be difficult or that might cause distress to those who are being chastened.
I wonder if I'm being chastened.
Well, if you are, the Lord loves you. The Lord chastens those he loves.
Yes, that's true. It's a part of the growth process.
It is, yes, it is. Okay, we have a lot of ground to cover this morning. I was making a list of a few of the things which I want us to cover, but remembering that it is the day on which we seek to celebrate love.
Yes.
Although romantic love tends to be at the top of the list for today, we still want to cover a number of things which really, out of the love that we have
for other people, speaks the truth at all times.
At all times, we're not going to kind of step away from some of those things, because every day that we can say something is a blessing for whomever hears it, and for whom it means, much. So, may I just list my top 4? Today is the day on which the government's call for comments on two pieces of legislation which are important in the development of our society. Today closes, right. The submission on amendments to the Integrity Commission Act and the submissions on amendments to the Protected Disclosure Act. Both are important tools in our armory for the fight against corruption and for the restoration of values, sound values, and in the fight for administration of justice, yes. I am very pleased to say that our submissions have gone in. I actually sent them in yesterday because I didn't want to risk any mishap today. So if, for example, I see that the email bounced because there's an email address that was provided, if there's a problem with the email address, I can get that sorted out in the course of today. So congratulations, Morning Connection family. Our comments on these two important pieces of legislation are in, and I am grateful to the callers who spoke up about it, those who put their notes on the text messaging and so on and so forth. As I was completing the submissions, I went over the notes that I take every day that we do the show. I make notes of the things which, I want to include in the work that we're doing. And I was just so pleased to go back over it and pick out the comments from the different, and to know that through this process, or this relationship, which we have developed in the several months, that yes, in fact, I use the word Morning Connection family, that this is the output of the Morning Connection family. So I was really very cheered by the contribution that I could extract from our notes. So those two things we're celebrating. And of course, we participate in the process because we love our country. And we love each other.
Right.
So it's all about love. And then the third thing is today, the regulations under the Disabilities Act takes effect.
And that is very interesting. And that is personal.
That one is for you, Pastor.
That one is personal to me. Somebody reached out to me because you've often heard me speak about my daughter from We Discovered and the challenge and what has happened and how she has just grown. I was reflecting on the weekend. Somebody was asking, so tell us the story. And I remembered it so well when we discovered that my daughter had lost a significant amount of her hearing. They would say she's deaf and hard of hearing. So she is in one ear. And this is so interesting. When we did the first test, I tell you, I thought the doctor said, the audiologist said, oh, she has 70% hearing in this ear, and the other one don't make any sense because she's hardly hearing anything. So when we went, initially they said 2 hearing aids, and when they checked it out, they says, no, just this one, the one that has 70%. Only to discover, that when every year what they recommend is to see what is happening, that she do a yearly test to see how much remains. And she went, and the audience looked at her and says, how does she speak so well? I said, what do you mean, doctor? She says, because it's only 30% hearing she has with the hearing aid. So we figured
you thought it was the reverse.
Yes, but thanks be to God. But it opened my heart to that community in terms of being compassionate and understanding. So somebody reached out. She went to St. Andrew High School. She did very well, then went on to university, did very well, and so she's out. But somebody reached out and says, can you speak to my granddaughter for me? So I said it to her and gave her information. She called the person, and then she contracted COVID, so she had to put it off, but she says, no, I'm going. So after we finished church yesterday, she says, Dad, remember? And so we went, and it was a good meet with the family, because all the family was there, and the little girl, who's now at Andrews, seeking to navigate that. And so she has now decided to be a mentor to that young lady. But coming out of it, under the Disabilities Act and the regulations, there's going to be more what is the word? More, is it pressure, but more responsibility on all of us within the society. So there can be no longer any discrimination based on disabilities in terms of job, in terms of facilitating them. So even that young lady now, she's about 12, 13, she now can say to the government, hello, I'm in school. I need an interpreter here because I've qualified to be here. So all of these things are going to come to the fore.
Yeah, we'll talk about those. We're going to take the break now. When we return, we have one more item that we're celebrating, and then we'll just get into the meat of the matter. So please stay with us. We'll be right back. This is the Morning Connection.
We'll be right back.
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, how do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you. Say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040. Or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Yeah, try calling her, cause trust me.
Waiters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
Ah, what a relief.
Let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer to truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double G Don, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith. God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com for bookings. Asuja Record label at Gmail. Almighty Jah.
The Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in. Best 100 FM.
Best 100.5 FM brings you youth empowerment and resilience. A 30-minute program with Walton McLaren every Monday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. Young Indians will not be the same again. Managing stress, trauma. Let's talk on youth empowerment and resilience with Walton McLaren on Best 100.5 FM every Monday from 7:30 to 8 p.m.
Vision Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hackett Park Road. Vision Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good. It's better. But nothing beats.
Welcome back to the Morning Connection, and thank you as always for joining us on these adventures.
It's an adventure.
Yeah. Well, you have one child whose birthday is the day after Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that was so interesting, and I remember the day very well.
So it suffices to say you can be a part of this conversation about the many faces of love.
Yes, it is. It is. It is. Yes.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Starting with a story which made the headlines on the weekend, the confessions of a child killer.
Wow.
You're wondering how that features into love at all.
No, it was love gone bad, sister.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
It's love that is destructive.
I know that you are an expert in human relations and that you do.
I'm learning. I mean,
the best experts say they're learning.
Oh, no, sir. No, Baba. I'm still learning. Some of the things you see in front of your face, you wonder what went wrong there. But I'm an eternal optimist, and with the help of God, and some of the times He just inspires you when you're dealing with couples that their relationship seem to have gone off the rails and no coming back, and He gives me an insight to ask particular questions. And what happens is that it opens it up for the process of healing and reconciliation to begin. So I'm grateful in that way. So every day I'm learning. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. I wanted you to give some insight into the story. Well, the story of the confession. I mean, an 8-year-old boy was taken from his home by someone known to him. It transpired that it's the ex-boyfriend of his mother. A man who, during the good times, the child enjoyed a very friendly relationship with this man.
And most times, incidentally, you find in relationships that the mother uses the child as the cue to whether this person is safe.
Yes.
Yeah, and so if she has a child and this person is interested in her, she normally takes cues from what is the interaction between the child and this person who she's letting into her space. Especially if they've been divorced, she's been divorced before or has had bad relationship, she uses that as a cue. But it is not always a good cue because, that could be the good side of the person, and she misses the other red flags that are coming into play in regards to it. And I say to people say love at first sight. It happens, but it's like 1 in a trillion in terms of that happening. But you just have to look for cues. There are some things that you have to look for and check for, and certain questions. I often say to individuals, okay, getting involved with this person. When you were growing up, you knew what your Prince Charming would want to be like, and there are some values that you have. Don't throw this out. Compare the person against that and see how the person matches out, how it works out. Because some of the times, they say love can be blind, but some of the times the cognitive ability to discern is very important, because heart have to meet mind in terms of a love to be sustained.
Okay. I know I sort of lit a fire under your under your pet subject.
No, it's just one of the things, yeah.
There are 3 aspects to the story that I want us to focus on, and it's very tragic for this lady Tamara Lewis, but it is instructive. Tamara.
Okay.
Tamara. Oh, you're thinking about Tamara and Judah?
That's what I just reflecting on it.
That's another love relationship.
No, it was.
There are 3 aspects to it that I want us to talk a little bit about, because many of us, whether women or men too, we find ourselves forming relationships without just even. Well, let's put it this way. Then we find out things and we realize that maybe it wasn't a good choice.
True.
So just want to discuss some foundation issues as we contemplate the many faces of love.
True.
This situation, and we won't focus too much on the names, because if Tamara if she's a listener of the program, we certainly would not add to her misery and pain. But we seek to learn from each other, and this is an opportunity that is as good as any. This lady had entered into a relationship with a man who they had a relationship that lasted about 8 months, and the relationship ended shortly before her son was reported missing. This romantic relationship ended after he tried to strangle her. She got away from the man by biting him.
Okay.
And then she threw him out, changed the locks.
He was living in the house?
Yes, but I don't know at what point they began living together, but at the end of the 8-month period, they were sharing a home. So she threw him out. She discovered that he had a violent history. What are you showing me?
Tamara.
Oh, you're still curious about her name?
No, her name is Tamara.
Yes, but down here it says Tamara.
So which one is it?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. She discovered that he had a violent history, had served time in prison in the United Kingdom, and she also learned that he had been jailed for burning down a house in an attempt to kill a previous spouse and her children.
Wow.
All that kind of information
comes out afterwards.
Yes, must. Which kind of raises an issue about when persons are deported and you know, when they are brought back into the society by way of deportation. What is the information that ought to be available about them? Because in ordinary circumstances, somebody in Jamaica would have known the person's history. You know?
But what normally needs to happen, if I'm reading you, the person case file as you call it,
yes,
whatever
information comes
must come to the offenses or sexual
registers for different kinds of offenders.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm here thinking that when we do need some method of ensuring that when persons are deported, if it exists, we need to check. There should be a place where if you need a recommendation that speaks to the antecedents of a deported individual, there's a place that you can go, and it's not a breach of privacy for that information to be made available to you. There should be some information that you can get about persons who are returned to the society as adults with a past. Anyway, that is a separate matter, but I think it is something that needs to be looked into, even as we look at gender issues and violence against women and so on, because I think a lot of good-looking men are deported and they are going to form, connections in the society, and they have a mysterious past. So women should be able to find that information and follow up on it.
But even without that register,
let me make that note.
It speaks to community.
Yes.
Because one of the interesting things that is emerging and has continued to emerge is the fact that when you get in a job, they ask for different
recommendations.
And normally one of the persons is a pastor.
Yeah, pastor and JP. And you're both.
Yes, and some people would come to me and say, can you? And I said, but I don't know you. I can't tell no lie for you, because as I tell people all the time, the only thing that I have is my integrity. I don't have no money, but the integrity that my word is my bond. So I can only speak of the fact of the time that I've interacted with you and I've gotten to know you. So I often say to young people, don't go to church and go back to church. So somebody can know you and somebody can thing. It's a role of the JP too, and knowing people in the community and understand, so you can, as it were, properly give a recommendation or a character reference for somebody. So the whole thing of community, which is something we've been pushing, that we live in community, exist in your family, but your family is a part of a community, is important. And that would have helped.
That would have helped. So I've made a note that for the greater safety of our society, when we are taking in, fully grown adults
People
who are
coming
returned in that way, there should be some access to information concerning their antecedents, and whether it is the JP who need to have access or the past or whatever. And I'm asking a question. If anyone has the answer, you can call me with it. Is there a deportee register
and not only
that from which you can gain such information?
And because we believe in redemption, if somebody has done stuff in the past, there's always a road to redemption. So we need to understand. We're not saying that because they are
a deportee that they're detestable.
Yeah, right.
You can't mix with them. Anyway, so that's some critical information which clearly, had she known this, she might not have entered into a relationship with the man, or she would have conducted herself in a different way.
Probably still would have, but you know what it is. So
yeah. But we're going to come back to that, because that is one of the many faces of love.
True.
The second relationship that is instructive in it is the parental relationship. This young mother had a good relationship with her son, and her son had a good relationship with his biological father.
Okay.
So this is not a situation of abuse or dysfunctional relations.
That they live somewhere.
Yeah. The big relationship that I'm working my way to, of course, is, I'm going to call it now, the God relationship between each of the main actors and God. So the mother, who ought to have
send something in our spirit.
Yes.
And take our spirit, not take.
Why I make mention of that relationship is because those who are schooled in the faith understand that the partner whom God intends for you, or the partner who is your helpmate in the original design, in the structure of the original design, is not a random choice.
It's not.
And there's a process that you use to identify and to select your partner.
Vision.
And that's the part I'm gonna leave with you. So, because you have been talking to people in that vein. But I make mention of it because the discernment that we require as men and women seeking to establish relations and to build family, there's a level of discernment that we don't often practice.
That's true.
And it's at the heart of some of the dysfunction that we see
today.
The crime and violence, the many baby fathers and baby mother conflicts. And even one of our parliamentarians was moved to propose that newborns are subjected to DNA test, because violence against women tends to come out of conflicts surrounding paternity issues.
And it continues to be a big thing, even it has come out simply when you file for the child and they require proof.
Yes.
And that's when you discover, hold on, all of these children are not mine at all.
All of these children, now you just want to make the woman look bad.
I know, but I'm just saying it.
But yes, there are issues there.
Yeah, there are issues there. So.
There are issues there. So that is an area that I certainly would like us to just spend a little time on to see if we can learn what is the process by which persons are making these choices, and what godly instruction you can give on that front. Then there is the call it now the brotherhood love, that what we talk about. What we talk about when we say that we are our brother's keepers and that we are in a covenant together, and there is a level of response that my brother should be able to count on me for a certain level of response. The confession by the man is instructive. He says when the relationship ended and he desperately wanted the lady back, he told his situation to friends at his workplace. This is from the caution statement given by the confessing person to the police. The spurned ex-boyfriend told detectives that he opened up to some of his co-workers about his predicament after the child's mother rebuffed his request to rekindle their romance. They told him that if they were in his shoes, they would go to the house and destroy the furniture. He left his workplace and again confronted his ex-girlfriend, this time at her place of employment in St. Andrew. He got down on his knees and begged her not to end the relationship. She, of course, held her course. Rebuffed again, he went to the home they once shared, kicked down the doors, and destroyed a refrigerator, a television set, and a fan. After he left the premises, his girlfriend called and he told her that he destroyed the items because she broke his heart. He told her he was going to make her feel the pain he was going through. He returned to his work and he again confided to his co-workers. So 2 times now he's seeking advice. And they suggested that they would hurt her. His co-workers suggested this time they would hurt her. He insisted that he did not want to harm her because he wanted her back. But said his co-workers encouraged him to hold on to something that she loved. That's when his anger turned to the child, with whom he had shared a very close bond.
Wow.
Yeah. He went, took the child, and well, the child was found later on, 2 days later, whatever. Anyway, not worth repeating what he did to the child.
Wow.
The role of the friends. If you are a friend to someone who's going through something like that, don't speak lightly. I'm sure if I were the police, I would find those friends and charge them.
For accessory?
I would find a proper charge. The US very creative. The other day, some group of bullying students who encouraged a girl to commit suicide. They went and charged them with manslaughter. Because if you have access to someone during their time of need like that, it cannot be that you use that opportunity to advise them to either harm themselves or others.
Mm-hmm.
It is a cruel and just a wicked thing. And assuming the truth of what he's saying, I would find those friends. Even if I'm not charging them, those friends need counseling. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, would. Mm-hmm.
Those friends need counseling. Clearly, I can't imagine anyone leading me down that path. So this is a man who had a propensity for a certain, as she discovered. It is entirely sad. I think it was entirely avoidable if people had behaved in a more loving and godly manner. So we come back to the central theme. How do we, as created beings who are made in the image of a loving Father, and who are here to carry out work in a certain way, how do we safeguard each other and prevent these kind of events from recurring? So that is the face of love that, when I saw it, I did not, and when I saw it and said in my mind that we should talk about it, I did not really consider that Monday would be Valentine's Day.
Okay.
But the perversion of love is as worthy of discussion as the perfect love.
Yeah.
That cast out all fear.
Yeah. So in reflection, and so you see, love exists in community. That is what jumps out at me. Love exists in community because we are created as social beings in terms of love, man and woman, love, but love for family, love that you have for friends, and somebody says love for mankind. And in the passage we read in opening out of 1 Corinthians 13:48, one version really explains in a deep way love, and I love to read it from the Amplified in regards to that, how it breaks down, because love is an action word. Love is about what you do to somebody. So let's go back to the passage we started with. Love endures long and is patient and kind. Love is never envious or boils over with jealousy, is not boastful or vainglorious, does not display itself haughtily. It is not conceited, arrogant, and inflated with pride. It is not rude, unmannerly, and does not act unbecomingly. Love does not insist on its own rights or its own way, for it is not self-seeking. It is not touchy or fretful or resentful. It takes no account of the evil done to it. It pays no attention to a suffered wrong. It does not rejoice at injustice and unrighteousness, but rejoices when right and truth prevail. Love bears up under anything and everything that comes. It's ever ready to believe the best of every person. Its hopes are fadeless under all circumstances, and it endures everything without weakening. And so, I would say, dependent on the situation, what happens, some aspect of this many-sided love needs to come out. And you were just reflecting on, like, let's focus in on the persons who work with this young man who were saying, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to behave. And I'm going, how could they? Wasn't there somebody in that group and said, no, boss, you need to let it go. You need to let it go, because what it is going to do, it is going to destroy you. And that's what it has done. And not only in destroying him, he has destroyed and taken the life of a young man and destroyed the lady.
Yes.
In terms of, she's now there blaming herself. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. I brought this into our lives.
Yeah.
And can you imagine the conversation with the father of the child?
Yes. Yeah. Because it looks like, as you said, the young man had a good relationship with his dad. You know?
In fact, the boyfriend took the child from the father's house.
Saying they're going for ice cream.
The 8-year-old mysteriously vanished from his father's St. Andrew home on January 21st, 2020. Child's father had picked him up from school that day, fixed him a light meal, and left him in bed while he went to socialize with friends a short distance away, according to court documents. He showed up shortly after, headed towards the house after a brief conversation with the father.
So the father knew who you were?
The father knew, of course. So it's not a dysfunctional situation of, it is really especially painful. And when you look at it, it is the absence of a sound relationship with God in the working of things that created the hardship, because that man ought not to have been in her life. If had she, we always have to. There are some of us who are fatalists and say, well, this is what God intended. That's what it happened. This is not what God intended.
That was not the intention, because as I keep saying to people, in terms of the evil that we see being manifested in the world today, put it back to the decisions that people take, because there's always a path that you can take, part to do good or part to do evil, and you make that choice, because that's something that is not taken from us in terms of what happened. So we're going for our station break, and when we come back, we'll continue this discussion, kind of heavy in terms of love and how it is manifested in our lives.
We get this out of the way first.
Yes. Yeah.
And then, because we truly are our brother's keeper, and even if it is a difficult conversation, we want to have it, because we hope that those who need to learn from the exchange will learn something of value. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. talking about transportation, transporting the past, the present, and the future generation. Whether taxi, private vehicle, or bike, your two bicycle wheel them are a hike. Listen up, pick up with a young or your old. Up on the bus, cause we are on the road.
Public passenger vehicle PPV operators and the commuters they transport have a critical role to play in making our roadways safer. I am Jeremy Nelson. Come make we do it.
The business of transport is one that affects each and every one of us at every stage in life. We all depend on a safe and reliable system to go about our daily lives. Public passenger vehicle operators have a particularly important role in ensuring that this system remains operational and in the best interest of all road users.
Minister of Transport and Mining, Audley Shaw, speaking at a certification membership ceremony organized by the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, TODS. Underscoring that too many deaths are occurring on the roads, Minister Shaw is urging operators in the public transport sector to take steps to be identified among the safest drivers in the country.
As operators, PPVs are responsible for the country's most precious resource, our people, including our children and the elderly. This responsibility must be held with the highest regard and sense of duty and respect. It has long been the saying that taximen cause crashes, but are not a part of them. We want that notion to be totally disproved and replaced with the idea that taximen and women are amongst the safest drivers in the country.
He adds that while the issue of road safety and indiscipline on the roadways cannot be remedied by any one individual, each person can still make a difference.
We have to lift up our standards in this country. It's urgent. Do your part to help to reduce and eliminate indiscipline on the roads. Look in the mirror and say to yourself, in the pursuit of excellence, one person can make a difference. And then you say again, in the pursuit of excellence, I will make a difference.
PPV operators can play their part in increasing road safety by making use of the free driver training opportunities available.
The Transport Authority has rolled out several digital training, monitoring, and enforcement mechanisms, and I hope that persons have been taking advantage of these. Public transportation operators can now be trained at their own leisure using revolutionary training methodology, gamification, and at no additional cost to the operators with the EduFocal Driver Training app.
The web application is accessible at tappvtrain.com. Minister Shaw is also calling on commuters to utilize the available technology to report illegal public passenger vehicle operators and those who commit traffic violations. He says this will allow commuters to play their part in helping to improve road safety and aid in the removal of illegal and indisciplined operators from the transport network.
The TravelPal app allows commuters to type in the license plates of any public transportation vehicle to determine if the vehicle is licensed by the authority. There is also the Drive Safe Jamaica app that allows members of the public to upload videos and pictures of drivers committing various road traffic breaches. I am warning unruly operators that these systems are being used to establish a pattern among PPV operators and will inform creation of targeted road operations and ultimately the revocation or suspension of the road licenses for repeat offenders.
Minister of Transport and Mining, Audley Shaw. Both the TravelPal and the Drive Safe Jamaica app are available for download from the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. And that's where we're going to let you off for Dude this week. I am Jeremy Nelson, and until next time, you could walk, ride, take taxi or bus. Stay alert and use the tools that are available to keep you safe this year while you do it.
A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all. You can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in. Best 100.
This is your late afternoon companion to Shikalu on your 100 FM dial. Make sure you tune in and turn up every Tuesdays from 5 until 7 p.m. for OTAWTL. That is on the ear with me, yours truly, a program that will leave you inspired, entertained, and informed. With the credit giveaways each week. Street Link, where we go in the streets to find out from the people what is hot and what is not, and so much more. And guess what? You can now voice your birthday shout-outs on our WhatsApp line at 876-538-9442, and we'll play them live on air. So what are you waiting for? Turn up Tuesdays from 5 to 7 p.m. right here on Best 100 FM, the station that is sizzling every day.
Veteran Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hackett Park Road. Veteran Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. Welcome back to our program this morning. So as we continue our discussion in terms of what transpired over the weekend, as we're celebrating Black History Month, we see somebody on the second page who we knew because she was on campus with us. Her mom really died recently, so she was in Jamaica for that. Pamela Cook Hamilton, big one in Brussels. Mm-hmm. But she was, you were on G?
Yeah, Block G.
She was on F. She was on F.
She was familiar.
Yeah, man, she was on F with us.
But you know what's interesting? This interview with her starts with a reference to the fact that she was often mistaken as she was wrongly seen as the secretarial accompaniment to delegations at events. So this is a lady, of course, female, Black, an expert in international trade, a diplomat, an attorney at law, and she is the head of the International Trade Center, which is one of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD. When she travels with the men. And this year as the secretary, she'll be taking notes, and serving coffee. And
she is the boss. She is the boss. She is the boss.
Yeah, and here it is. She says, this is a true Jamaican girl. Without fuss, she complies with requests to photocopy documents at meetings. And later, when she takes her seat among them and signals that the boss is now in charge, she meets the gulps and gaping mouths as the result of the error. Yeah, man, you gotta do that sometimes because you serve. Yeah, you serve.
And
you serve in
she's
humility.
your height too, you know.
Yes,
she's your height like you, and she's a person of faith. So that we know.
Yeah.
Yes.
She says being Caribbean prepares you in a way others don't get prepared. When you grow up on an island that has every class, race, and color dynamic, and I'm not saying we don't have any issues because we do, and in Mandeville, where there was every possible race construct thereof, then when I walk into a room in the international community, I don't see myself first as black, and I don't see you as better than me. We're all in this together, she said, with the boldness of Jamaican and Caribbean pride. Her heart set on one day having a trade talk show. I come from good stock and I am committed to excellence. I don't believe any kind of disability should be used as an excuse not to be excellent. At the end of the day, when you call my name, you can say anything about me, but you cannot say that I didn't do the job and that I wasn't good at it.
That is Pamela for you.
Yes.
You can call her.
Girl after my own heart.
Yeah, her you know, her mom, her sister, she used to be head of the training agency JEF. That's her Cook Lloyd.
Yeah,
that's her sister. That's her big sister actually.
Okay.
So it shows it's good pedigree.
I don't remember. I should have been my senior. I'd have been looking up, even though you say she's my height.
Yeah,
and I didn't look up too often.
Yeah, but because you're always in your books. But anyway.
I kept in my lane, yes. She has worked in the field for over 30 years and represented Jamaica at the national level in Geneva, Switzerland, as a junior foreign service officer during the Uruguay round negotiations. Then she went to Washington, D.C. at the Embassy of Jamaica, working with the free trade area of the Americas. And she has clearly had a distinguished career, serving in some important places outside of Jamaica. It will be interesting to hear her speak on Jamaica's prospects in this new global.
We can try to get a link with her. See if we can get a call in.
All right. Well, we can share a little bit of what she shared with the Gleaner. She says Jamaica may soon become a hub for the She Trades initiative of the ITC, which seeks to connect 3 million female entrepreneurs to the global market. The initiative provides female entrepreneurs and women-owned small, medium-sized enterprises around the world with a unique network and platform to work together. Coke Hamilton said the scourge of sexual harassment will not be tolerated by her in any connected agencies, and neither will any form of discrimination based on sex, race, gender, and mental health. I wonder what's the difference between sex and gender. An ITC mental health app has been operational since January and provides doctors on call 24/7 to assist women. The Jamaican mom, whose son believes mommy always makes my illness better, is celebrated in Black History Month. So we raise a toast to Miss Pamela Coke Hamilton, who Percy says was our sister on Irving Hall.
Yeah, man.
During those ancient days when we were on campus.
Yeah, she was a part of the Cook group. That's how I remember, Pam. We had a Cook
Pamela
group.
Coke.
We had a group of us. She was from Mandeville, myself and Philip from Trinidad, and we were, and the rest were females, and we had to cook, you know. We don't say we wouldn't just come and eat. We had to do our part. Either we wash up dishes or we had to cook the meal for it. It was a good thing because you know when you're on campus with limited resources, we run a boat,
together. Oh yes,
run a boat, and everybody was a part of it. But it goes back to the group dynamics of which we're talking about in regards to the relationship that we have to play in regards to each other. According to most people have heard about filial love, which is between friends and family, and equal philia. Eros, which is erotic, passionate love, which seems to have been strong in that relationship. Because that's how most people start relationship. They look at the physical, but they don't look at what is happening in terms of the emotional and the social skills of the person. Storge, love of parents for children, which I think the lady in the article would have had.
And
a gap
and the child's father
right?
too.
And agape, which is the one that we quoted from in regards to 1 Corinthians 13:4, which is love of mankind. Some people say there are others, but you can't build a relationship only on eros. There has to be agape involved. Because what happens when the love get cold? How do you survive in terms of your relationship? Because the person has to be a friend too, in regards to how that is. And so even for a lot of couples, I ask them, is the person your friend? Or is it that the feel that you feel in your heart go boop, 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 that is causing the attraction? Because you have to focus on what are the talents or what are the things you like about this individual. And as I was saying before, how does that compare to the list that you have in your head before, in terms of what are the things that I'm looking for in regards to a partner? Because those things are important. And then you have to ask yourself the question, having looked at your list, is kind, family oriented, believes in God, all of those things, and then you now compare with what the person is manifested. And this is always a deal breaker. But there are some things about that person that me just can't take. Are those the deal breakers for you? Because if it is something that every time you are interacting with the male or the female, it just keeps coming up, it is going to be a problem
long term
for you long term. And some people, you say to them, even in terms of speaking to them, I remember in counseling, I've said to people have come to me for counseling, and I said to them, we use different instruments. So I always encourage premarital counseling for people who are seeking to enter into that covenant. And I say to them, having done that, I have to be honest with you, I don't think you should get married.
How many persons have ever taken that advice?
Well, 2 people have taken it from me. And the lady came back and said, thank you very much. Thank you very much. But as I say that, I said to them at the beginning, you come to me, you're asking me, and I'm saying to you, based on what I've seen, I'd not recommend that. And one couple had come, and I got married. She came back and she said, thank you. Thank you very much.
You've touched on, so I had made a note for you to give some tips on establishing loving relationships. And you've tagged friendship as an early one, because as you say, when the erotic love goes cold, the friendship should be such that even if you separate and you're co-parenting, you're able to communicate in a harmonious and a responsible way. So I've tagged what we are calling the God factor.
Yeah.
Godly principles and ways to choose partners, to work out how you're going to deal with various things.
And just to add to that, the vision, like I say to a lot of ladies, the vision that this man has for himself, his goals, can you align yourself with those things? Because that's going to be important.
And vice versa.
Yeah. Can you, in terms of with the ladies,
do you ask the men if they can align themselves?
Yeah, with where it's going, because the truth is, I say to
so couples, a shared vision is relevant. So I call that destiny partners.
Right.
I think that shared vision emanates from each person being complementary to the other
to becoming one
in achieving some life goals that are known and that are exciting for both of you.
And you can say, yeah, I like that about him.
On the weekend, conversation arose and I heard Lowell saying that, boy, he had settled in his mind that he would never marry a lawyer.
Wow. So he end up marrying a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer.
You're not a lawyer?
That's the whole point.
What are you?
Minette, woman. I'm Minette.
You say got married to Minette, but not the lawyer.
Got married to Minette. But the point is, the shared vision exceeded whatever ideas you had about
who the person is and what they represent.
Yes,
because part of it is getting to know the other person. What is it that makes them tick? Understanding their heart. If you're a kind person, a simple thing. Is the other person like you in terms of being kind? Like
you mean like Abigail and what was her husband's name?
The fool?
Yes. I didn't mean fool.
His name meant fool.
It meant fool, I know.
She said he's a fool, but that's a different context. But please, Abigail understood what was happening.
Abigail knows that she need to release.
And the man died of a heart attack when he heard that.
And David married Abigail.
Yes, So it's kind of interesting. But I think in terms of shared vision, what it is that we want to do together, like you're going to get married to somebody, you believe in family, and the other person don't want family. That's a major thing for some people.
And we're not talking about infertility now.
No.
Because sometimes that comes up.
But that's a different thing that you focus on. But if the person stated up.
One like children and the other one said children are a nuisance and they're parasites and
you can't. So
mash up your body and take away your money.
All of the things that happen. So those are real things that you have to look at. Beyond the things that cause your heart to go boop, 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 beep, bop,
and don't be youthful and think that she'll change her mind, or think that he'll come around.
Let me tell you something.
Because I think
don't do that. I say to couples all of the time. The women always say, "Him off, but me I go fix him," because the man becomes a project, and no man wants to feel like he's a project, and that becomes a barrier.
Really? Men don't want to feel like they're a project.
No, sir.
They don't say it's because she loves me.
No, sir. No.
There you have it from a man's man.
Yeah, don't want to feel like him is a project.
Producer.
And I tell couple all the time.
You agree? I'm just getting a second opinion.
Yes, a man don't want to feel like he's a project. Oh, come on.
You agree? No man wants to be a woman's project.
Yeah, because I tell people all the time. Yeah, but it's mutual. But the other thing is, some people go into relationships thinking that he's a project, I'm gonna fix him. If I saw him stay, that is how he'll remain, unless he decides that I love the person enough that I'm willing to make some movement, some changes in regard. And we can't do that to each other.
Let's say good morning to Mary. Good morning, Mary. The reason I thought of Mary is because in some of her conversations, she has said that she saw a man who needed support and building. And that, so many a times when you're supporting and building, just know you're supporting and building for another sister.
Well, better you say it than me.
Yeah, because a lot, as you say, the man may fall in line and enjoy the attention and so on and so forth, but at the end of the day, once you have built him into something that stands with credibility, he flies off, and you need to say bye bye. And build another one.
And we know of so many,
and it does happen so many times
in people. So
and on the two sides of the fence too. You hear men say, "Oh, I put her through teachers' college or nursing school or whatever, and when she get to a level, she gone leave him." So let us accept that as one face of love, that we are really building and supporting so someone else can. and you likewise will inherit somebody else's good work.
True.
When you do find a partner that you don't have to.
So one of the lines, even in terms,
you don't have to renovate.
One of the things I said, you see this lady. There are 3 phases, just moving from premarital into marriage, because I think marriage is a covenant between 2 people. 3 phrases. You need to learn to say, I love the person.
Yeah.
So the man, them have to practice it, because the ladies love to be said and reaffirmed.
So on this day, we want to hear I love yous.
I love you all the day, every day.
Yeah. Okay.
And then also in terms of love, learn to say I'm sorry. But the one that came to me as an important point is the whole thing of, I see you, I see the gifts and the talents that you have as an individual, and I'm celebrating the gift that I have in you to me. So if we do that every day, it causes us to focus on the good. Philippians 4:8. Whatsoever things are good.
So this is a good time now to say good morning to enlightened self-interest.
Yes.
This is where you recognize the benefit you derive from loving a beautiful person.
Yeah.
And use that to motivate you.
To celebrate
in maintaining
the gift that
strong
the
relationships
with you. So there's some tidbits on today. Last night I said to
Mrs. Palmer.
Yeah. I'm gonna get, what do you want for Valentine's? What do you want? And she said, leave it up to you, must know. And then, but I said, you tell me, because you have enough perfume and things. She said, women always love perfume. I don't know if
That's
is
true.
so. Yeah, no, what I said. But I'm going to give you
fragrance.
something different this year, but it helps.
Well, someone sent me, I don't know if this is a thing. I find it's healthy. It's a healthy option as well. Someone sent me a cartoon of a young man on his knees, holding a bundle and handing it to the woman and saying, boy, this Valentine, my pocket can't manage any roses, so hold this bundle of callaloo. The callaloo's were a bit wilted, but I thought, green juice.
Yes, it can work.
Work with that. That's a very healty option.
Sticking out of the box,
So,
you know,
yes.
because you know how much you have a dozen roses now? Holy money, 3,000.
I don't know, but less than a bundle of callaloo, I suppose. And then someone sent me another one with this one now was a text message with a lady saying, what about the perform? Oh, that you tomorrow you need to, tomorrow I need perform. And he says, perform? What's that about?
Perfume.
It was perfume. And he says, no, you need a dictionary. He says, perfume? And she says, LOL, yes, perfume. And he says, no, you need a dictionary. That's another option too. Delivering loving truth.
Yeah, because I'm learning the relationship. It must be a place naked, not ashamed.
We're back now with Adam and Eve covering up with fig leaves.
No, man. It's a safe place.
A safe place.
It must be a safe place that I am myself unconditional love by the other person. Because the truth is, every one of us have our flaws. But in a relationship, I must be safe in terms that I am vulnerable, I'm open, so the person understands who I am, and I am accepted by that person. If nothing else.
Would you say that it is a fit environment to practice some of the godly virtues and the relationship?
Yes,
it is a mimicry of your relationship with God, who has unconditional love for you, but who won't be vexed if you kiss the neighbor's son.
Okay.
Or would he? Am I a jealous God?
Jealous in that kind of way, you know?
Yes.
Because there are boundaries in relationships. Yeah.
The relationship, we talk about the Corinthians 13 kind of love, which forgives all things and so on and so forth. But many ways, as we recognize the family environment as that place to practice all the principles of kingdom living, recognizing the boundaries is a very important part of it, because we've seen time and again in the love relationship between God and first son Israel, they got chastened.
And then redemption comes.
We're about to be chastened by the
producer. Over the time.
Because we've gone over the time. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
1, 2, 3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
What is happening? Can you listening?
This is Madam Michelle, and I want to take time out to big up all our artists link up, kings and queens. Artists link up, one link.
When I'm in town, I tune in to Best 100 FM. ALU with Madam Michelle every Monday at 6 p.m. This is some of the best music. This program is sponsored by J Music Records, Kalonji Music, and Bad Bill Productions. Madam Michelle was born playing music on Best FM 100.
Vision Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vision Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
As we come back, it's always interesting to reflect on some of the issues in the paper. You remember Raskabi?
Vaguely.
You remember Raskabi, the song? Which one was Raskabi?
Vaguely.
The song what Raskabi did have about discrimination, bus fare. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah, man. So that was a hit in the 80s, 90s. Yeah, but and Nzinga has come back. Mm-hmm.
Well, she never left. The truth is, and on Thursday, we were speaking on it ahead of some of what how the public would express themselves on the matter. I think the overwhelming response is some disappointment at the path that has been taken by the DPP. But I was early out the gate, just expressing some concern that the way the DPP, the way the public responds to these matters with the DPP shows a misunderstanding of the role of the DPP and what she does. And I don't know that over time, her own office has improved things by giving better explanations of what the DPP's office does and what it's about. Many times we're looking to the DPP's office to give answers that can't come from that quarter,
Yeah, she can't really.
Yeah, that's not the place where things are really taking place. Anyway, we're seeing here Imani Tafari Ama speaking about it in the Sunday paper and describing it as justice denied. Justice denied. And Nzinga King stands firm after DPP ruling.
So she going to sue somebody?
Well, the breach of her constitutional right would go forward and as a civil claim, but I think also what the police does concerning the administrative breaches which may have taken place in their management of the situation, how they treat with persons within their custody and so on, the records they keep, the records they make. That to me is where the real action is. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we are just taken up with, is somebody going to be prosecuted? And when we get that answer, we'd wander away and leave the issue alone.
Leave it alone. But the real issues.
But the real work still needs to be done, and we take no interest in it because that's mostly the behind the scenes work. I hope that what has happened to Nzinga King will fulfill the potential it holds to be a catalyst, a turning point,
a game
changer in this business of relations. I'm gonna call it race relations because let's face it, race relations is what it is.
Okay.
Let's
race
see.
Relations?
Yes.
Two races.
Well,
but this black man, or class relations. I'd prefer to put it as class.
Yeah.
Class relations.
Whatever makes you feel happy, my dear friend. It is Valentine's Day.
Yes, but it's class relations.
Responding to the DPP's ruling, coalition member Marcus Goff concurred with Isaac Buchanan's conclusion that an appropriate legal response to the DPP's ruling should be channeled through the civil court. He also observed that the fact that the DPP had not assigned any criminal charges does not mean that justice has been served. Despite inconsistencies introduced in Nzinga's story, the state prosecutor did not address remaining doubts about the visibility of Nzinga's locks while she was incarcerated, and subsequent images of her available on social media without her here. In a telephone interview, Nzinga traced a timeline from 29th July to from June 29th to July 22, which represents the significant dates of her arrest and bail and the day she went to court and was charged. Let's see. I think I think there's a bit more to be done on this issue. To me, no, that's the unglamorous part of understanding the procedures that apply in the police station, what records were made, because if she was in a self-harming condition and did in fact harm herself, what's the evidence, what's the contemporaneous, let's use a word that the DPP would have spent many hours poring over. What is the contemporaneous evidence that supports the account of the police versus the account that was given by Nzinga King? I think some disciplinary procedure still remains to be addressed concerning what transpired in that police station. If you accept the truth of what the police say, and worse yet, if what Nzinga King says is actually what happened to her. I don't want to ever, make the mistake of causing additional trauma to a victim because we don't believe the story and we put it under so much pressure that other persons are inhibited in. Yes, that is something which we say we won't do, especially to women who are the victims of assault and violent crimes, whether it is sexual or otherwise.
Yeah, that's a very important point, because they say, and the truth is, my friend, it cannot be lost in the general narrative of how people are. We have to deal with it case by case. Don't you agree?
Yes, it is always case by case because each person's right, and I was saying that quite a lot in the early days when we were considering vaccine mandates and the like, that your constitutional rights, your fundamental rights and freedoms are uniquely yours and are interpreted and addressed in the context of your specific experience. That's how it has to be.
It can't be any other way.
It cannot be any other way. So we do try for efficiency, reasons of efficiency, to try and have general standards and to address things in some kind of broad brush way. But when it comes down to it, if I file a claim in court, it's my claim. You have to address me the way you find me and based on the interaction we're having. You can't just say, well, generally. I had a situation to address on Friday, I think it was. A lady's mother died and she had gone to the bank to try and get access to funds for burial expenses. And this lady was in her 80s and had put one of her children on the bank account for convenience. And another daughter now went to the bank with the necessary to try and get the funds from the account to pay the death expenses. And the bank chased her, and she said she had a bad experience there. But the bank told her that there's a right of survivorship over the funds in the account. If you're on a joint tenant in land has an automatic right of survivorship by operation of law.
True.
It has a meaning in law and it applies to land.
Okay.
Bank accounts don't have that. Bank accounts depend on mandate and intention. So if I go in and I open an account with you, and the bank ought to have a process to identify when it is joint money where anyone can have all. And therefore, on death, a right of survivorship could arise. Banks should have a procedure in place. Now, this the bank she went to, they told her, well, joint account, no. Let the other joint account holder come and deal with the account, because on the death of one, it is the other one who has all the money. That was the bank's position to her. And of course, her other sister is abroad with a whole set of, Jamaican type problems where you can't travel. Right. So the other account holder can't come. So she spoke with me. When I spoke with the bank manager, and the bank manager said, well, generally, if two people come and open an account, that is the understanding. So I said, but the two people didn't come and open an account. A woman had an account with you for years, and when she got old, she put her daughter on it. Why would you just... Well, she didn't know the peculiar circumstances.
So then I need to find out.
You should find out.
So...
Well, that is a case for today, as Monday, because that was on Friday. It was happening. But what caught my attention was the way she said, usually, this is how we apply it. And you had someone in front of you with a specific need, and no one took the time
to find out
and to look at it. It is very bad customer service.
So I'm just saying, you don't know, so they want to they want to take your money quickly.
But when it is time,
to take
right?
The money out. They're saying they put everything up.
And I'm telling you, Percival, this was such a that and some other conversations on the weekend, such an eye opener that during life, when you are in the pink of health, you make decisions and you do things. But I tell you, when that body drop down, whole different ball game for those who survive you. And there is a real need for persons to be knowledgeable and to plan their affairs. Because here it is, this is a lady, her money is there.
And she's sick.
And while she was ill, I think she wasn't able to access it either. And now that she's dead, our children, the child who's here looking after things, is having a difficulty to just pay for funeral expenses. And the money is there in a bank. And no one in the bank took the initiative on Friday to guide this lady on the right things to do. We have to share with each other, show more love in how we are addressing matters that concern us, because you never know when you or someone connected to you is going to need that care and concern. All right. Can we turn to some of the things that have happened that are being reported on? There's just such a sad story on the front page this morning. And please, if you are in the Brownstown area and can in any way affect what's going on there, the courthouse is on.
It was burnt out completely.
Yeah, okay.
It was burnt out completely.
So I was shown a video in the course of this morning's, and I saw something on the news about a fire at the Brownstown courthouse. The Brownstown courthouse has been burnt out completely. So all the records and the files and the my God,
just burnt.
Burnt out completely.
Burnt out completely. Yeah.
Wow.
All the records and court documents and transcripts of evidence, and that is a major. Yeah, you immediately begin to think about it being arson for a specific purpose. What was on the docket for this morning?
Serious.
But in this age, we can talk about cloud storage. We were talking about cloud storage on the weekend as well. And even how does the justice system utilize the technology to minimize the dislocation and the hardship when events like these take place, because when you digitize your documents and have them stored elsewhere, fire burn down the physical document. It's really just a matter of
pulling it from the cloud.
And for those who are uncertain about it, no, it's not the literal cloud. It's not stored up there in space.
That's how they call
it's in a server sitting in a physical country somewhere in the world. But cloud computing is very much the order of the day, and and whenever you hear something like that, a fire, or right away your mind goes to, what about the documents that are a part of the administration of justice and the continuity and certainty of doing business in the country, or in the community that's affected by it.
That's true.
Yeah.
And the budget was read on Friday or Thursday? Friday.
I leave that one to you, Pastor.
I will comment time. I just comment on it and inviting Corey and our people normally comment on the economy, talk about it. Engineer recount journey from Spanish Town to space engineering. Gregory Folks. Wow.
Jamaican-born pilot aims to close color gap in the skies. Captain Glendon Fraser. So this is a part of our celebration of the contribution that our race makes.
And just this guy was senior production person at Boeing. Wonderful.
Okay, this is the mention of the Disabilities Act that you raised. I wonder why February 14th was chosen.
We're giving them some love.
Yeah, but I would have loved to see the regulations uploaded
that we could
to
look
the
at
Ministry of Justice website and accessible, so those who are have to give advice and who need to study and be on top of it would have access to it. Oh, good morning, Taki, and thank you for that bit of information. Taki is telling you, Pastor Percy, that Ras Karbi's song Discrimination was from 1976 and signals that the problem existed before and continues after.
Here's an article
Thanks,
by
Taki.
your friend Gordon Robinson this morning. He quoted the verse of...
Oh, from the same song?
Yeah.
Oh, find it.
Yeah, right there. I didn't see if I find it. It's here, right here. It's the quotes are Ras Karbi discriminator. No, I had to make a living, I had a family. Food we must eat and clothes we must wear. Never had a bus fare, not a red cent. I took a walk downtown, a job must be found. A sign said, help wanted. Long hair, freaky people
need not apply.
No one, no old nigger, no Rastafari. So let's recap. Discrimination is a prima facie unconstitutional and infringes on equality rights. But even discrimination is sometimes for the greater good and also lawful. It's shown to be demonstrable, justified in a free and democratic society. To establish it, going must be. He was talking about the cascas that is between Lee and Stewart about the whole thing of mandates and thing in the tourist industry. He was referring to that, yeah.
We saw the results of a poll conducted by the Bill Johnson and Mello group, showing that 71% of Jamaicans are opposed to vaccine mandates. Interestingly, the Minister of Health had no quarrel with it. He said that's what we're seeing, and it's reflected in various other analyses, just even the number of persons who are vaccinated.
But the same minister is pushing a narrative that says for Gibson Relays and other things, you must get some benefit to being vaccinated. So we are trying to understand what exactly is the government saying. It's not very clear. They don't believe in vaccine mandates, but yet they are pushing.
No, it's not that they don't believe. They believe in it, just that the people don't.
So they believe in mandates?
Accept it. They believe in it. I think so.
Okay.
But I take it as a mark of respect for the people's position that they are not being bullies by pressing for a mandate when persons would reject it.
True.
So they would have to fight us. All right. That being so, it still doesn't release them from, I guess, their natural inclination to create inducements for persons to consensually take the vaccine. And so that's what they're doing by creating this, places you can go if you're vaccinated. Am I induced? I am not. It don't seem that you are, because I think persons are still exercising the discretion which is theirs to exercise and making a judgment call on what is the best course for them, all things considered. School will reopen after the midterms.
School has reopened.
He says all schools. I'm not sure what it means. Were there schools that weren't reopened after,
our schools
after Christmas?
To reopen, but on a phase.
Or they're gonna online. So is that the phase thing will go away? So everybody will come.
Everybody will go.
All right. We are seeing all around the world.
What is driving it?
We are seeing all around the world that persons are agitating for a return to greater freedoms, and governments are collapsing under the pressure. You know what I mean? They're giving in. Is that what is really happening here without a say-so, a clear statement that that's what? And if that is what is happening, I don't think that it is something for us to kind of nitpick about. Let things run their normal course and we make the adjustments.
We're not the U.S.
Oh, that was a headline.
Yes, that was a headline.
Yeah.
In response to people saying, why don't we do like what everybody else is doing? And the response was, we are not the U.S.
But when we say we're going back full bore into, all students, whatever your condition, we are in fact
doing that already.
Yeah, I think we're doing that.
But and some people are asking, just following international narratives, different media saying, what has changed in the science that is causing the people pressure? People pressure. People pressure. So let us wake up as we come to take our calls this morning. It's coming close to the 8 o'clock.
Right. Before I need to just prepare or call us to participate in a discussion we're going to have tomorrow. Kamisha is going to be with us. Kamisha has a program on the station, but it's not about her program that she'll be talking about. She has a conference planned for the 24th of February to look at all things copyright related, and I've already been recommending it. Righteousness, I recommend it. You have
send it out on all of my media.
Yes, and we've been
people calling and saying, "Can we get the links?" I'm expecting people from all over.
Well, she's gonna be with us 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So tune in to hear how Kamisha is organizing her conference. I think it is timely, and it can be a game changer for persons who are looking for ways to monetize their cultural output. All right, time for us to open the lines coming up, but let me just say the numbers so you can write them down and prepare yourself. We can be reached on 876-619-1508 and 876-279-8473. Okay.
Somebody sent me something.
All right. When we get back, Pastor has been gifted with a list of the highlights in the 2014 regulations. Should be the regulations. And when we come back, we'll share from it. I really wanted us to have a little bit more, but I'll keep hunting down the the regulations themselves so we can talk on it to some extent. And I think also too, I should share with you the closing paragraphs of our submissions that went into the clerk of the Jamaica Parliament today on behalf of the family.
We're loving them.
Yeah. All right. So stay with us, please. We'll be back in a moment. Did you read it?
Yes, started reading it, but when we wake up.
We'll be right back.
BBC News. Hello, this is Jerry Smith. The G7 group of most developed countries has warned Russia that it's ready to impose sanctions, which would have massive consequences on its economy if Moscow invades Ukraine. The finance ministers of the G7 said they viewed the Russian military build-up as a cause for grave concern. Russia denies it's planning an invasion, despite massing more than 100,000 troops at Ukraine's border. Here's our correspondent in Kiev, James Waterhouse.
There is a heightened sense of anxiety, not least from the Ukrainian government, which has long been calling for calm, but they have been reflecting what the US has been saying in terms of we've seen intelligence, we think an invasion is likely, and our priority, they say, is forming as many security partnerships as possible in the space of a week.
There have been mixed reactions to the decision by sports authorities to allow Kamila Valieva to compete in the individual figure skating event at the Winter Olympics in Beijing. The 15-year-old Russian had failed a drugs test in December. The Court of Arbitration for Sport said there were exceptional circumstances because of her age. Laura Scott is in Beijing.
The World Anti-Doping Agency said it is disappointed by the ruling, saying that its rules do not actually allow for specific exceptions to be made. We've also heard from the US Olympic and Paralympic Committee. They said they are disappointed by the decision, and they said it appears to be another chapter in the systemic and pervasive disregard for clean sport by Russia. So yes, Valieva is able to return to the ice, and she has done so today ahead of competition tomorrow, where she is the favourite for the gold medal. But this troubling scandal with a child at its heart is by no means over.
Environmental activists in the Czech Republic have cut off the water supply to the Environment Ministry building in the capital, Prague, in protest of the outcome of a groundwater dispute with Poland. Recently, Poland agreed to pay the Czech Republic compensation for environmental damage caused by a coal mine. The Prague government withdrew its lawsuit against Warsaw, a move which the activists describe as a capitulation. Schools in the southern Indian state of Karnataka have reopened 4 days after the state government ordered them to close because of a worsening dispute over Muslim pupils wearing headscarves in class. Video footage showed students in hijabs being directed to remove them before being allowed through the gates. A senior district official in Udupi, Pradeep Kurideka, said restrictions have been imposed on gatherings near schools.
Right now, Section 144 has been imposed on all schools and colleges, meaning more than 5 people are not allowed to gather in one place. It is through regular policing to maintain law and order that we ensure nothing untoward happens.
BBC News. The Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is visiting the United Arab Emirates today for the first time in nearly a decade. Relations between the two countries were strained for years, with each backing opposing sides in regional conflicts, but tensions have now eased. A public inquiry has opened in London into one of the biggest miscarriages of justice in British legal history. Between 2000 and 2014, more than 700 managers of post office branches were wrongly accused of fraud and theft because of a faulty computer system. Thousands of others lost huge sums of money. The inquiry is seeking to establish who knew about the computer flaws at the time. Lee Castleton was made bankrupt after losing a 2-year legal battle.
My family were punished significantly, and it was very difficult to watch. Even now, investigations are ongoing. We're 17 years past the day, and we're still looking at it from outside and not really looking at the true facts from within.
Hong Kong's leader, Carrie Lam, has said a wave of COVID infections has overwhelmed the city's medical facilities. The territory registered a record of more than 2,000 cases on Monday. A Ghanaian political activist has been charged with treason after being arrested on Friday for making comments on social media about a coup. Oliver Barker-Vormawor has led protests against President Nana Akufo-Addo's government under the banner Fix the Country. He was detained after saying he would stage a coup if Parliament passed a new bill which would impose a tax on mobile money transfers. American Airlines says a flight from Los Angeles to Washington had to make an emergency landing because of an unruly passenger. Witnesses say a man tried to get into the cockpit and open a plane door before a flight attendant hit him over the head with a coffee pot. And that's the latest BBC News.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
One in.
A hurricane we name. Are we rough? Whether we a man hurricane or woman hurricane. We want you know that. We come here for mash up building, blow down things and take life. Flood out place. We no ramp. We no respect no one. So no take no chance with we. Listen to Adprem and prepare.
Hurricanes do happen, so
be prepared.
Yes, be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Best 100.5 FM brings you youth empowerment and resilience, a 30-minute program with Walton McLaren every Monday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. Your Monday nights will not be the same again. Managing stress, trauma, let's talk on youth empowerment and resilience with Walton McLaren on Best 100.5 FM every Monday from 7:30 to 8 p.m.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in. Best 100 FM.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100.
Wagwan.
Guten Tag.
Buongiorno.
We are
The Kingstones.
I think I love you best of them because you're better than the rest of them. It's so amazing how I love you best of them because you're better than the rest of them.
Melody in our voice. Kemisha plays the music nice. Melody in our voice. Kemisha full of vibes. Best FM run the town. Yes, I run the town. Hear me loud and clear. They run the country and the town, or the far and near. Bless the love into to Empress Kemisha on Best FM, and it's all about the resetting. Mondays to Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. on Best FM. Keep it locked. This is Warrior King, the Black Emperor. Come on. Tune in.
Vision Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Haggard Park Road. Vision Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome back to the Morning Connection. Yes, so I don't know. I'm not usually taking the break before it's due, but we did this morning 4 minutes. So we're taking it back. We're gonna open the line shortly, but I did want to share with you the closing paragraphs of the 2 submissions that we made to government on behalf of our Morning Connection family. So the first is on the Integrity Committee. legislation is necessary, but ineffective in its current mode of operation. The Commission is regarded as lacking the authority and will to address matters of integrity and corruption in a credible manner. The treatment of late or non-filing of statutory declarations of assets was a constant topic of discussion, making it clear that the penalties for this breach must be sufficiently severe to compel timely compliance. It is also of great concern that the process seems geared to facilitating a mutually acceptable resolution of the breach as between the Commission and the public officer, rather than to expose the corruption at the root of an unsatisfactory declaration. For the above reasons, the proposed amendments favor increased severity of penalties, greater independence for the Commission, and increased documentation of procedures and timelines for the performance of the Commission's functions as being key to greater effectiveness. While this may not be an issue for statutory amendments, many listeners felt that the meaning of the words integrity and corruption should be more clearly articulated for common understanding. The cultural norms have corrupted the ordinary meaning of these words, such that different standards seem to apply to similar situations based on the status or identity of the persons involved. This sentiment is so overwhelming that many express the view that the passage of laws and conduct of consultations on amendments are acts of futility in the absence of mutual trust and respect between the people and the state. And this is from the Morning Connection. The other set of submissions that we did pertained to the Protected Disclosures Act. This, you know, is what we have called the Whistleblower Act, and the purpose of it is to play a striking role in the fight against corruption. All right. For this one now, I did specific submissions on clauses in the Act that require attention. Then I did some general submissions because in my own assessment, the Act was so weak in critical areas that it was difficult to propose amendments. There's no amendment you could propose to cure those weaknesses. You have to introduce some fresh concepts and provisions to the Act. So I'll start by sharing the general submissions and then I'll do the conclusion. The designated authority with responsibility for the legislation is the Integrity Commission. The independence and authority of the Commission was addressed in the companion submissions on the amendments to the Integrity Commission Act. Greater independence from the manipulations of the Parliament is required if citizens are to develop the trust and confidence that this legislation will be allowed to achieve its objectives. The fines and penalties prescribed by the Act should be increased to adequately reflect the public's utter condemnation of corrupt and improper conduct. Where the corrupt activity involves the loss of revenue, restitutionary orders or fines should be calculated and provisions should be made for the whistleblower to receive a share of those funds. The move towards compensating or rewarding whistleblowers has its justification in the recognition that despite best efforts, employees suffer career death as soon as a disclosure is made. Statutory protection has been described as a cardboard shield incapable of preventing ostracism, isolation, and psychological oppression of the employee. The law is generally geared towards managing disclosures within the context of a working relationship and does not adequately embrace the opportunity to institute a culture of accountability across the public and private sectors generally, irrespective of the source of the information. The connection between improper conduct in the private sector and corruption in the public sector seems to have escaped full attention. Corrective measures of like severity are urgently required in both sectors. And my conclusion now, in the overall, our listeners do not believe that this Act will achieve its objectives. No one would use it in its current form, and all feared that their identity would be disclosed and their personal safety would be jeopardized. All are agreed that disclosure should commence with anonymous reports as recommended, along with provisions for confirmation of identity to a restricted class of persons if and when necessary. The existing arrangements for the Crime Stoppers operations can be mimicked. The scope of coverage should include all reports of illegality by all persons with information, regardless of their relationship. The freedom to disobey an illegal instruction or command and to avoid violating the law are protected rights that gain strength under this legislation. Accordingly, every effort should be made to be inclusive of disclosures that expose such behaviors. Other jurisdictions grappling with similar issues have reported a need to guard against unconventional forms of harassment or retaliation. A whistleblowing entrepreneur may find that his business is audited out of season, or government permits and licenses are suspended or revoked on technical grounds, or access to funds and market opportunities mysteriously disappear. Any expectation of success must provide for these areas of risk. There is a great deal of interest in speaking truth to power and in eliminating corruption from the relationship between citizens and the state. Our participation in this exercise is evidence of our commitment. The Morning Connection. So that's the work that has gone in on behalf of our group, reflecting the advocacy of, yours truly and your input and your daily calls and the positions as you have outlined them to me. I'm very pleased to have, conducted this review or these reviews, and I think I'm just hoping that others will see the utility of following suit, and that we can have a lot more activism and participation in discussions of this nature. So we're going to open the lines now, I think, unless, Pastor, you want to. Oh, yes. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Just wanted to say the following key areas are highlighted in the Disabilities Act of 2014. The provision of a disability certificate, the right to education and training, the right to employment, the right to adequate health care and accessible facilities, the right to housing and to enter premises, the work of the New Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities and the Disability Tribunal, the rights to access public passenger vehicles, the right to participate in public office and political life. Some of these just piqued my interest, the right to education and training. So it is important that we do that. And so main objectives of the Act were to encourage all Jamaicans to recognize and accept the principle that persons with disabilities have the same fundamental rights as any other person, promote individual dignity, freedom of choice, and independence of persons with disabilities, make sure that persons with disabilities, we refer to them as PDWs, are able to take part effectively and are included on an equal basis with others in all aspects of national life, prevent or prohibit discrimination against persons and individuals, and promote acceptance of people with disabilities and respect for their differences as persons, as human beings. So I think coming week could continue to engage somebody from Jamaica Association for the Deaf, or even from the Council for Persons Living with Disabilities, to further find out how they are seeing it in terms of what is happening. Okay, so we can now open the lines for discussion. I guess we'll talk about the budget at some point in time. There's been a comment anyway, and the question was, whose budget is it anyway? Is it a people's budget, as some people have said, or it is an elitist budget, or whichever one do you call it, my sister?
Me, I give no thought to it.
You don't give no thought to it at all?
To be honest, I spent the time looking at, the instruments, the legislative instruments, and I know we will have no impact on what Mr. Nigel Clarke does.
Okay.
Zero impact. Sometimes we have these conversations and they're purely academic. But the things that we can touch and affect, I do want to spend more time on those things. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection. Good morning. Welcome, welcome.
Morning, Pastor.
Morning. How you do?
Not too bad. It's when I'm in bed with it right now, sick out.
Oh, really?
Oh, this? I'm just about the feed, but I talk on it already. Signal. I'm supposed to send my file to get a lawyer from
yes.
month now. I know it can't reach the lawyer. I'm that sick, man. I need help.
Okay.
I don't know what's right now. I just call and make you know all of this.
Okay.
At 10 years, Mr. Bignall have my case, 10 years with spinal injury, hernia, and a shoulder injury. 2 surgeries supposed to get in. I can't help myself, I cannot help my family.
Jason.
My family are suffering in front of me, and I'm missing them. I hear this now. Man, to the same, my file to get a lawyer over a month now, and I'm still not making a move.
So he should.
Who? Tell me something must come from my file.
Who is your new attorney?
Huh?
You have a new attorney?
Yes.
And that.
Over a month in contact Mr. Bignall to get 5 from him. I don't know Mr. Bignall and send 5 again, man.
But attorneys have various, they have options on how to get to the information that they need. He doesn't have to be held hostage by Mr. Bignall.
That's why Mr. Bignall wants to send the 5 I give this man and tell me personally if he must come from a file. I'm not working for me. Must call him phone. I call him phone over a dozen times and he not answer.
You know.
If you get in contact with him, he must come and place. I must call him phone. As long as I live, me nothing and not with him again. I'm grateful I'm this and that. At 10 years with injury suffer me. We start from hungry. We start from surgery. Medication, everything this man have me under. You tell me lies, I see what people them, to them tell me about see what people them figure say. To me not work so long I'm broke, I'm hungry now. The half of them send come give me, I will just grab it up. He must say that, you can't read see what people mind. He's not a mind reader. When him tell me them things, I'm going to say he's a liar.
So what about your current attorney? I'm thinking more about your current attorney because if Mr. Bignall, if something, you know, there has to be a way forward.
Attorney tell me say him send information, give this man, talk to him, and all them still don't send up the file to give this man over a month now.
And you say
that hurt my heart, I'm sick.
Yeah. Did you leave a number? I don't want to.
Is a disability person, you know.
You had left a number with Andre. I seem to remember trying to call you but not getting through to you because we never got to speak off air.
This means it's a fact. It's not my phone. I don't think I have a phone for myself.
Oh, okay.
I'm making this call.
Okay. So is it a situation where I could call you like 10? You could arrange to have that phone with you again?
Yes, you can call me back on this number.
Yeah, because there are some, maybe I'm a little more experienced than your new lawyer, and there might be some suggestions I could make that he could use to move forward, because we can't allow things to get bogged down because a lawyer is uncooperative. There are all kinds of ways. All right, so please give the number to Andre and arrange to have the phone with you so that by 10:10 or 10:15 you and I can speak.
All right.
Okay then.
All right, Jason. It's Jason, right? Do we have another caller? Okay. All right. Some months ago, I was applauding Mr. Bertel Moore for standing up to the minister in the defense of his people.
And it's still on that track.
Yes, he said he's not going to shut down the operations until a place was found for his people to continue the businesses that they have in operation at the location that's earmarked for the new market. In the meantime, it seems that Mr. Mackenzie has not kept quiet, unlike most other tough-talking powerful people, he has continued to denigrate the man. So I'm admiring Mr. Moore again, because Mr. Moore says he can say, Mackenzie can say whatever he likes. He can say anything he wants. I know I am doing what is best for my parish. I could never be a stumbling block. I want what is best.
Because, the
simplicity of that response is compelling.
We remember what happened with Constant Spring.
Oh, yes. I am one of the victims of that.
Remember what happened with Constant Spring. So there's a push to get this thing done. And if you drive by Constant Spring on the way up to Stony Hill, the gas station was taken out, the market was taken out, and that plot, that area where the market was and the gas is there idle, nothing is happening on it. And what has happened is that the people have migrated to the lay-by further up.
Yes.
And that has become a stand-up market for everybody. And people have been constantly saying, when you're doing development, you have to take the people in the center of
you're planning, of course. Anything otherwise is going to create chaos, because you're right. Where the buses ought to be taking on passengers has become a little market.
Yeah. And
undesirable.
And the whole thing in terms of people development, the cockpit country, the cockpit country keep coming back.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Mrs.
Lawrence.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Speak what's on your mind. Go ahead.
May I say no? You see, the whole rain we get. The Prime Minister now get people clean the gully where we might lay off. We don't have no work. Get them go clean the gully. The place are go flood out because the amount of ice we have to go melt up. And carrying at the cloud them are going to dash off in a sea, on land, anywhere. Because the global warning we're seeing happening with the climate warning, the energy where the man might take out that space carry to Earth, it will cause them thing here. And the place will go flood, you'll get more ice, the place will go hotter, the thing them are nature, in tamper with nature works. Pursue them only.
Well, you're absolutely right, my brother, that we have to clean the gullies and be prepared for unseasonable weather when it comes to the rainfall. Thank you very much for pointing that out. I appreciate the awareness. Go ahead then. What's your other point?
The other solution.
Yes.
What's happening to the people with the cruelty and wickedness and to the people Oh, you the people them work, and you got tell them to come out of them work. And when you put them, you bring them back in a society, you have nothing to give them. So you have to make them hunt, create crime and violence and war among them each other. Come on, man.
Okay.
Look how much work needs to be done. The farming. All I say, the seed them are going to plant, and you see that rain will come. If you don't have nothing in the ground to plant, but dead for hungry.
Okay.
I tell you, when you come in like you don't know what going on, the wickedness of the scientists and the world leaders, them, and all of the rich capitalists who have mess with the creation and want to feed them own thing and combine the force you, dictatorship and you, and claim to mandate you and pressure the poor people at all time of the system, the oppression system.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
So
good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sir.
Yes. Hello?
Yes, we're listening.
We're listening to you, friend. Yeah.
I have 3 short points.
Go ahead.
Some time ago in my life, when I was younger, I was very interested in making someone to make a company in the communication system. I remember when they were selling out telephone Jamaica and whatever I think. I found it. And I coming down a apple tree, I saw Dish Satellite, and I was, complimenting the person. I went into the office. And I'm saying, how Jamaica doesn't have a third
service provider
communication system, yes. And then I heard something on the radio about console, whatever it is, but the word spectrum came in, and America, England, and Europe were making noise that Jamaica, that company shouldn't be established. And it's surprising, and I know there was an issue where the person who was trying to make the company got them in some court, whatever it is, but that company wasn't successful in making the third right to the communication system.
Are you trying to remember the name Carousel?
Carousel. And I was trying to meet the people.
Really?
But anyway, it passed. And I am shocked to hear Baz and his gang and the minister here coming now to give a franchise like that to another company. I heard it on the radio now. I can't believe that this is happening.
All over again.
Many years, they are giving another company a franchise to have a third communication system in Jamaica.
So, you are speaking to one of the founders of Carousel. The producer and I were amongst the founding shareholders and directors of Carousel. And yes, it has happened again. There are some investment opportunities that even when locals demonstrate the capability and the will to do it, the government seems to have a hard time doing what is necessary. We fought the government in court for 3 years, and in the end, they came in with their guns and tore out the equipment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, about the spectrum thing and
and they arrested some of us for broadcasting without spectrum after we had to pay a fortune for the right to use the spectrum. And without giving us back the money, they purported to issue a license for the same spectrum to the new company that you heard about, which is a company owned by a white man and his wife. This is the Jamaica of 2022.
They think we are fools. Okay. Next thing is I must compliment you for the submission to the, constitutional adjustment or whatever.
Yes, well, it went to the Clerk of Parliament, but it is Ministry of Justice undertaking amendments to 2 important pieces of legislation.
It's Ministry of Justice or legal, constitutional legal reform. Which one? Which are the ministry?
There's a new ministry.
There's a new ministry that does that.
It don't have no email yet.
Okay.
Shouldn't say that.
I have my doubt that I reserve my comment on that. The constitution that they want to adjust or they want to change.
Yes.
They can't fool anybody. I know how come Mr. Onit is now paying attention to that. And I can assure you that I have doubts. Why is it that there isn't a public discussion on it? The restrictions and according to this, the COVID restriction.
Dear Murray.
So why can't we have a town hall discussion? Everywhere else that I know about and I've read about, they have town hall discussion.
Well, you see, maybe he thinks it's going to be a distraction, but he has created a new ministry, and that new ministry will have the responsibility for carrying that discussion forward. And there has to be open and wide-ranging public consultations on issue constitutional form. One, the prevailing interpretation is that in order for the constitution to be amended, a referendum, meaning a resort to the people, must take place, so the people must vote on it. Whether they intend it or not, sir, you can see I am demonstrating early o'clock that there is a way to engage, to involve the people, and I am prepared to use what time I have on air with you to do that, because we are going to speak and we are going to be heard. I think whatever comes of it, we'll never know unless we speak and unless we make a noise. Yeah, we gotta push.
Yeah, man. Thanks for happening in other countries. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for calling. Very important input, sir.
Thank you very much.
The third one is,
yes.
I would like to know how I can make connection to you. So the station or the whole of the book that I request.
Okay, I recognized your voice, and I'm gonna say, when are you coming in?
Give us the number.
And we have a number for the gentleman who wants to put in touch with two of them. Well, we'll put the two in touch.
Yes.
Speaking on this.
Thank you very much. In Africa, I need the Uncle Zanka.
Uncle Zanka?
Uncle Zanka.
All right, sir. Uncle Zanka.
Which other language is that anyway?
We'll be right back.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go. On time.
Need a cab from anywhere at all. You can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
This is your late afternoon companion to Shikalu on your 100 FM dial. Make sure you tune in and turn up every Tuesdays from 5 until 7 p.m. for OTAWTL. That is on the ear with me, yours truly, a program that will leave you inspired, entertained, and informed. With the party giveaways each week. Street Link, where we go in the streets to find out from the people what is hot and what is not, and so much more. And guess what? You can now voice your birthday shout-outs on our WhatsApp line at 876-538-9442, and we'll play them live on air. So what are you waiting for? Turn up Tuesdays from 5 to 7 p.m. right here on Best 100 FM, the station that is sizzling every day.
Vision Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Haggard Park Road. Vision Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome back. Man, we were so pleased to hear from that last caller because the book which he was searching for, Clinton v. Black's History of Jamaica, one of our callers had it, and we are so pleased to play Cupid. We're playing Cupid, putting them together. And yeah. And then, of course, to think that without even knowing he was speaking to the Carousel people, he had a curiosity about Carousel, pointing to, the perfidy of our own government. Yeah. When the telecom sector was being liberalized, there was an interest in seeing that, there were local stakeholders. And Grace Kennedy had made an application for Spectrum, but they didn't think the Spectrum was worth more than a certain sum, and the government had greater ambitions. So, of course, Digicel, coming from Europe, understood the value of it and made a better offer. I think maybe Grace Kennedy has regretted that over the years. If I were there, I know I would have regretted it. But the truth of the matter is, I don't even know what is worse, having had to deal with just foreigners owning such an important part of our assets, or the same kind of
And people recognize because that telecom license is what made Mr. O'Brien a very rich man.
Yes.
Started here. It says Digicel made in Jamaica.
Made in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there are all kinds of ways you can look at it. Would another Jamaican entity have become a world power out of it? Who knows? Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, Sister Minette. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm calling from Trial in St. Elizabeth.
Yes.
Welcome, my dear lady.
Welcome.
The reason why I'm calling, Sister Minette, they only run up and down and broke people place. Them broke bar. In a dark up, then come in at the house for you. Sister Minette, I don't know what's going on. I am calling on the government, our Prime Minister, and our Member of Parliament to do something from the Zozo, come on, Montego Bay, everything topsy-turvy over the whole place. We can't sleep in the house at night. We have fear. A judgment time we are living in. Sister Minette, we are called from the government and our...
Who's your MP?
MP. To do something about it because we are living in fear in Trial in St. Elizabeth. Trial in St. Elizabeth was the best little place, but now we are living in fear.
Okay. Who's your MP? Who's your MP?
We want the government to do something about it. We want help. We need help.
Mommy, who's your MP?
The MP is from Junction.
Oh, you don't know the name?
Is it
We don't see him till when voting time come around.
Is it Witter? Is it Green? Is it Hutchinson? Which one is it?
Right.
It's St. Elizabeth.
St. Elizabeth. We can find out. You know, it is a great, especially as it relates to women. A lot of women are very vulnerable now. Safety and security. You would think that the security forces would know that when they squeeze one area, it's gonna displace the crime into nearby communities.
Listen, minute. If you even call them, they now come. Because the other day, they hold up my granddaughter and take the whole heap of money from him. And he report you at 3 different stations. And you know there was something about it.
Wow. Can I?
Judgment.
Yes. I'm going to ask you to do something for me because I'm going to make a call. Can you give the engineer your number? I want to call you. I want to call you after just to just check something and see what we can do when we're off air. Okay. Engineer, I'm going to ask you to take this lady's number for me, okay? Sure. All right, Mom, hang in there. Remember that
Father up above.
The Father up above still love us.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Still love us.
All right, then.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
And it's kind of interesting in terms of the calls. The calls that are coming in from all over Jamaica. Because if you look at the Bill Johnson poll, he did it in 2011. And in terms of crime and violence becoming a major concern, he says this is crazy. 50%, 60%. And just before it was 88%. I didn't get what it was presently because it was to be released on the weekend. I never got it. In terms of what is, what you'd say the word is, people's minds, what is on people's minds in terms of what is a major concern for them. And I said somebody, do you know? And somebody needs to tell me otherwise. Even as we spoke about Mr. Moore in St. Elizabeth and the standoff in Westmoreland and himself and Mr. Mackenzie. You're doing all of these things, all of these structures going up. But what about the people? What about the people? What about the people? What is driving the crime and violence? Have they looked at it and says, okay, let's stop put up these buildings and say, this is my legacy, I put this building up and so on. We need to get to the root cause of what is causing people to feel so afraid in their communities that they believe that they are helpless.
Well, let me tell you, when I looked at the that piece of legislation that deals with protected disclosures, one of the things that I saw right away is that we're at the point now where people are going to feel increasingly more unsafe because things are happening around you. You may have information, but you have no trustworthy source to take it to. And eventually you begin to feel as if you're in a box. There's no place to turn. And your home is not safe. Because if really, let's say it, if criminals can just do as them feel like.
And there's no deterrent, there's no redress.
You can report on it and feel that your information is confidential. And when you do make a report on it, nothing gets done.
It goes back to the person you make the report on.
Yes.
And they come, which is what has emerged out of this whole Klansman thing in terms of the nexus between the police and the gangs and the political thing that needs to be destroyed and broken.
Yeah. So at the roots of this feeling of great insecurity, it's the same corruption issue.
Yeah. And the whole thing of social ills, which somebody says needs to be addressed.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, family.
Good morning.
Yeah.
How are you this morning?
Crime. All right. My advice to many people, I tell them, I say the violent music, stop play them. I say little children, they decide to not play certain music, let them know them can't play it. And so when you promote certain sounds, and even shows them too. If you ask any of the man them out the road who sell show, most violent show people, some horror and some deadly and some bloody show people want to watch. So we have to be careful of the energy we are put out. Because when the youth them grow up and feel like we are glorify wickedness and badness and violence, them grow up with a mentality they feel like that a run thing. So them start to do certain things. And I would say, these people up top not really protect we,
Nope.
You understand me? So we have to know to unite ourselves and protect ourselves. And they up top are going to try mash up that too. Because it come like them a feed off of the violence and the crime and certain things we are going. So we have to just know, say, we're not bowing now. Because better you're dead. Better I'm just dead and done than be a living dead.
Yes, I mean, I'm of the view too. I would rather die in the wilderness than go back to slavery.
I mean, so why I should I just stand up and make a man kill me if I can't help myself?
Okay.
And I'm going to fight back. I got to draw for gun. If a gun me, I got to draw for me. I got to fire it back. You understand me? So
you're not encouraging that.
You're not encouraging, but
I know what you mean.
I'm defending yourself. I understand that.
Not taking it literally.
On a level, the office stand up and fight back. It might come a time you have to fight back. We have to wait till we against the wall. Then you fight them, turn that even more harder. Because the evil ants become an evil giant now. So as I say now, we are going to bring forth the solution without that unity amongst the people them who are in the foolishness. Because it's terrible, me not live in fear still,
Well, neither do I, but I understand what she's saying.
But if I can help inspire people to become more wiser so that them learn not to live in fear and know to stand up against fear, then I will do that. And if there's any unity amongst the people then I will unite, and that is what I'm for. But otherwise, support the people them still choose to glorify wickedness and evil. I will do what me can do, and I'll do my time, card.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. You are a man that you have experience, because you're not a child anymore. But in your speaking in terms of your community and where you live, do you find that you have person who have similar mindsets with you in terms of how you are approaching things, or most people say, no man, a foolishness here talk? How is it for you on the ground?
I think most people would have said, even if they understand what you say, it's like they must say a walk one, so they must go with walk one. But you have a few tiny few words still, a whole of them still yet.
Okay, all right. So that's important to know. So my encouragement to you is the few who decide that we eschew violence is like the Gideon 300. that won the war. We probably might have to call ourselves the Gideon 300 in terms of people are standing up with the help of God in this nation to bring about the change that needs to happen. So talk to them people there and let us see what we can do even in terms of your local. Begin to educate the people and help them to understand what it is that they can do. All right?
Yeah.
So that's what you have to begin to do. Yeah, man.
And Mr. People.
Yeah.
People.
Time coming.
Just read in the Bible. Read in the Bible. Because I see Bible. Read the Bible and pray if you understand it.
True.
Yeah. Bless up.
All right, my brother. Thank you. Is there another call? No? All right.
But that's an important principle. And because you can look at the the giants that are there and say, how are we going to overcome that? But with David says, you are so big that I can't miss you. You're so big of a target that if I take you on, because I come to you in the name of God, who has said that people need to live in peace. There's something that God has spoken in terms of how we must live in. But we have gone the other way. But those of us who know what is right need to stand up and begin to change.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, Miss Minette.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir. How you doing?
Good morning, Pastor first. Jesus, hello?
Yeah, man, we're listening.
We're listening.
I was shifting a little bit in terms of this morning. I never really catch fully in terms of the love and the relationship thing.
Yeah, Pastor gave tips.
Yeah, that's a little tips. But I just kind of change it a little bit still.
No, man, that's all right. That's okay.
But and that we really put the blame on the man really. So, but what happens is that some of the ladies then, they are getting involved in our relationship. But sometimes these women, they don't really look on a man with values, They look on a man away and look. And they might get the guy might be look good, and whatever they feel like, so they want to get involved with the person. Now, sometimes the ladies when they get involved in a relationship, they want to change the man. And a woman would prefer to date a guy with good looking or not bad looking and find that maybe date somebody with not handsome them, but him alright, him not bad looking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but he has solid values.
Yeah, solid values.
Yeah.
These ladies are really depend on something there, They prefer date a man where look good and my hot man and he look good, but yet he really trying to say when you get involved in a relationship, you trying to say the man have different type of woman, and then you have to try to change the man. You understand? And then you live with that heartache and all these issues.
So it sounds like you did listen to Pastor, man.
The man might be not so bad looking, but he have good values. And, if you was a pretty girl and the man is so bad looking, maybe two of them can merge,
Well, it sounds like you did listen to Pastor because he spoke about those issues of compatibility and values and the necessity to go for the shared vision and the friendship over and above some of the, the more...
TDH, we call it tall, dark, and handsome.
Oh, that's what it's called.
TDH. The TDH principle, because a lot of people, and I know of females who buy them say, now go the road there again. Going for the gentleman with the values who going somewhere.
And sometimes it is when we reject. There are a lot of people who said they don't want nobody from here so or from there so, or some said the Jamaican man worthless, and we have our hurt and our baggage, and we might say a stranger, at somebody who we don't know much about, we might say that they would be a better option because we think that the thing we know has hurt us so much in the past. It happens on both sides of the fence. Women do it, men do it. And then we find out that there really is no substitute for sound values and for getting to know people. To know who it is that you're embracing, who you're bringing into your family.
I think I look at a scenario, say.
Yes.
A guy, women know, him having a girlfriend, right? But he started carrying. Well, funny enough, the guy women know I'm near and the next girl, but she have a relationship. But this guy knows I'm a hot boy. So man, I can't work for girl. I know so the next girl getting involved. I see everything I go and get involved with the guy, and no one then, as I said, much have to change the man.
Yes.
But see if you are a boyfriend overseas, And I try to change him. And a big argument, big argument, you know. You understand?
Yes.
I know the man is here before.
You had all the yeah. So that was discussed too. That was discussed too. So you came in on the right vein.
I never get it mistake.
Yeah.
And I hear it, I did have to get myself organized to go to work.
Yes.
So I would have to run out and get certain things done around the house before. So that's why I kind of, you know.
True, but it's true.
We might have seen it seem like we said before, but I never get it.
Yeah, man. You're on the right wavelength. Thank you, my brother. I hope you have a wonderful day today.
Same to you, both.
Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Morning, this minute on Pastor.
Morning.
I'm there, listening for a morning, you know, in terms of crime, you know, that is not a long time to boy, this is a 4 foot, we can't will.
What you know? I hear you. So what you have saying this morning?
I'm going to tell you, it's when you have a country or a nation where people see them brother and sister as their enemy.
Yes.
You know, there's something wrong though.
True.
Of course.
Yeah.
That is the absence of love.
Self-hate, we call it.
Yeah, and it's spreading like a wildflower.
Right.
Well, we're trying to curb it, my brother. We are trying to curb it, and I think it's one of those situations, as like you like to say, you know, one candle can displace a certain amount of darkness, despite how small it is.
You know, as we said from last week, you know, to make have a mindset and. Oh, no. It's like the boy 100 years down the road. It's like the boy with still not going on the gutter. Because if you're feeling a bus and you hear some new music and you make a mistake and bust the step, the lack of that, the whole bus come down for you. You don't have no value, you don't have no value, no attitude again. Everybody does. No, I don't know.
Well, can I give you something hopeful? Because last week one of our callers said that he was on the bus and a lady was preaching and in a way that he found annoying, and he tried to get her to be quiet, and the whole bus turned on him. So there's a little hope that it's a question of which bus you're on. Yes, I know you're ready to amputate.
Yep. All right, it's rough, and again we have little hope still because we have people like you, people like me, and that lady will come on tomorrow. We have the program at the evilness.
Yes.
And Jerry.
So you see. Right away, in one small corner of the garden, you can find a few. We're there, man. What we need to do now is be more vocal, speak out, draw others to the same cause or position, and watch it spread.
Comes a wildfire.
So I pass this question. When the Bible says God said, "I'm going to short the days for the elect." What it means?
It really means that because of everything that has been increasing, it would seem that a day would say it's 24 hours. But you ever wake up and say, hold on, how did the day gone so quick in terms of what is happening for the elect because of what is about to happen?
He's being merciful. He's being merciful to the same group of people to whom he says you need to exercise patient endurance.
Pastor, you say already about what? It's not about what? It can happen.
No, it's happening. It's happening.
It is happening. It is happening.
Yeah.
And the days will be shortened. So that's to give us hope.
Yeah.
That no matter how bad it seemed and how long it seemed to be going on, still the days are shortened for our sake.
Have a nice day. I'm here listening.
You too. Thank you very much. Also. Is there another call? No? Okay.
You know, as we continue, in the paper today, as it comes in, there's a center spread on today we celebrate a huge milestone in Jamaican history. And all of the different statements from disability, abilities, carbon court, all of these people. But I'm wondering if the government understands the impact.
It's PR.
Yes, good PR. Hello.
He hasn't given it to us yet.
Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hello.
Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning to the universe. Miss Lynette.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Percy.
Good morning, sir.
This is a judgment.
This is judgment.
Time that with the wheat and the tears
will grow together.
Reap into the harvest of judgment.
Okay.
Why? Is because the technology come wipe out humanity race in an endless of time is to come. So what we need to do is stand up and fight to right towards humanity to live in a better way of life.
True.
So my problem now, we are developing the crime more and more, and we're now looking into these things. If
who's not looking into these things?
1,000 people work.
Who's not looking into it, Darkness?
Sector or government places or any other places, and them send 500 to them yard. Obvious.
All right,
the next 500 they're going to take vaccine. But after a while, they're going to redundant them because the machine can still do 1,000 people work. So them set up people where are going to still have to go back in a society, go create more judgment for survival, for food for survival for them and them children, and also for pay bills, water rate, and also other bills up on them head.
My brother.
People will do various things and do various things.
Okay.
And that the government will lead them to send people where they know them good work. And they go and eat food and make some government that dash them out. And the people now realize this is the main issue we need to deal with. And start going on some little gimmicks thing.
All right, my brother. You, can I say something now?
Sure, boss.
All right, thank you very much. So what I hear you saying is that the policy is there is causing people to lose them work and so on.
What policy? There's no policy here that is causing anyone to lose their work.
Tell him, man. We want him to get to the point what's causing it.
Is the technology.
Sure.
All right. Good. The technology. I'm trying to put a reason to you that the technology is driving people to lose things.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You see, as Christ saying, stop worrying about food to eat close to we and these things. Because I know I need all these things. I provide them for no. What the people are supposed to be thinking about. Justice and righteousness.
Okay.
And with that type of thought and approach to life, everything will work out fine. So people, I'm not telling you straight. Everybody I worry about and tell me all, they can retire in a peace and come on. Establish justice and righteousness. Read the Bible and
all other things shall follow after it. Yes.
And everything fall in place. Everything. So people, and with this woman thing and man thing now, most men are look man because of them sexy, beautiful body cars. I tell you, them a body are mad. Not weird. And most man are look man with money, as the man said, your $8,000 can't work. No man I want a poor man. You understand me? But most people not penetrate the justice and righteous spirit, and that will be a big problem. Because the rich people come together, movie stars, entertainers, we still see them broke up.
Yes,
that's true.
Quick, them relationship mash up. They say there is something lacking within
ourselves.
The realms of how them approach life, which is justice and righteousness. Like for instance, now, my little girl I left from 1 grade to 2 grade and she come check her in our class because of one reason. Because enough things where them tell me to do, me not do because them can rule my head. You understand me? Now them give her a present and I say little bit them there, they are dancing at the present when them give the present and here for them staying. Them come to school to get and them encourage them to get education so that them can buy house and car. And I say, wow, with that the mentality, that's why you have so much thief and gin and everybody just look up to themselves. You educate yourself to become sensible. You know justice and righteousness. And for you have that normally, you know you want house.
Absolutely.
You know you want certain basic necessities and certain things. You gotta work for them, but even if you run on them things, they don't have justice and righteousness. All they want is to kill in the house for that.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's true.
Yes, sir.
Bless up.
Bless up too. Good morning. Oh, welcome to the Morning Connection.
So what I hear Wayne talking about It's a change of heart.
Yeah. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, Miss Mary.
Morning, Pastor Percy. How are you this morning?
I'm good, man. I'm all in love today, Sister Mary.
Me too. I'm always in love. I believe in love, you know. Mrs. Lawrence, I heard you calling my name, you know, and I was planning to call.
I couldn't help it, Mary. You came into my spirit as soon as we were raising a particular issue there.
Let me explain first quickly. Yes. I am deaf in one ear, right?
Yeah, okay.
I told you,
told me.
So
you told me.
I hear well from my situation, right, Pastor Percy? So take time with me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Domestic violence is a very serious thing. I am on tablets for years.
Mm-hmm.
At times, right? But this thing in the Sunday papers, I saw it, right? I saw it because I always get the Sunday paper. But everybody, you see the situation, this woman, I want to make it very quickly.
Yes.
The man went to his co-workers to see what they told him to do.
To go on to hurt and to commit violent acts and so on.
All right, I want to make, because my situation now, you listening to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Listening.
I didn't go to the man's boss that was at the helm of the organization, you know. He was the one that said, Mary, I heard that things not working between you, so and so and so. I said, yes, sir. And he said, we have to talk. I begged him to get him to a psychiatrist. He said that he was so arrogant, he's afraid of him. I said, well, you have 4 general managers. This man was not the helm of anything in the bank, right? He was just an ordinary general manager over a 25-year period. When I met him, he was a clerk in the bank, and he said he wanted to get the number 1 job. I saw a certain aspect of him that he wouldn't be able to do it, to make it. You understand?
Yes.
So I said, what you can do, Mr. So-and-so, is to check on the psychologist or the psychiatrist to all 4 or 5 general managers, so that it wouldn't be too obvious.
Yes, that right? It's just for this one.
And it did not. Everybody in the bank knew about the abuse.
So,
right?
you know,
and he didn't do anything.
Yeah, Pastor, we did speak about that.
I had lunch with his boss, 3 hours at Jade Garden. Then the following Thursday, I went to the man's home in Redis for 2 hours, and he says, Mary, must come up turn.
Okay.
What happened? Oh, okay. Well, all right, we'll take the break.
But it's break time, yeah?
Yes,
break time.
As well.
We'll be right back.
Let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer to truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Don, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith that God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com. For bookings, Asuja Record Label at Gmail. Almighty Jah!
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
It's my station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
What's happening? Keep listening.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. God is good. This is already Pastor and friend, Reverend Simon Peter Jones, inviting you, my friends, to listen every Tuesday evening on Best 100 FM at 7:30 p.m. for the program, The Voice of Hope, as we extend hope to the hopeless in this dying world. God is good. Be encouraged. Hope is in the Lord.
Vision Print
Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hackett Park Road. Vijay Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome back. We have two callers on the line. To the first one, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Neville.
I'm coming your way on Wednesday with the information about the curator.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
You can get all the links and you can do your own things. You know?
Yes, because we're going to do something with it.
Yes, man, because look, morning to your listeners and your precious callers. No, hello?
Yes, we're listening.
Yeah, I was hearing a call a while ago about the technology.
Yeah.
Darkness,
yeah.
Yeah, you see, one of the things that we need to do is make sure that you build your more skill set to fit into anything that the system comes with. Because it's only teamwork going to make your dream work.
Mm-hmm. That is so.
Yeah, and in a weak economy like Jamaica, there's a lot of opportunities down here. There's more work in Jamaica today than when slavery was abolished. So work is not Jamaica's problem.
And to the point, the same technology that we look to give us some increased advantages and get us wealth in some sectors is the same technology that's bringing in the replacement for the manual labor and some of the things that that caller is talking about. So a good understanding of the technology that is ahead of us, currently being deployed in other societies, a good understanding is going to give us some opportunities. One of the listeners online is saying to me that tradesmen will be needed. Tradesmen are always needed.
Yeah, but one of the things that we will have to do, especially the males, we'll have to make sure that we man our communities better. And we have to make sure that we cut out certain waste of time.
True.
Because, you know, as we celebrate Valentine's Day, Pastor, the Statistical Institute is showing on their website, is only 13% of Jamaican adults are married. 87% is living some form of common law as single life.
True.
And that sort of inequity cannot compete in the digital age, you know.
Because family and community going to have to be very strong. And there's
strong.
And there's an economic benefit to it, you know, because research has been done all over the world, and people don't even recognize that even people not married and they live together in a stable thing, it makes them become richer quicker.
Thank you. And there's a level of loyalty and trust that's going to be needed.
Yeah.
Because, Pastor, when you look at the slave masters when slave was in Europe, all of them broke, you know. All of their economies under loan, you know, debt burden.
No, yeah, true.
And they are suffering food insecurity, climate change insecurity, pension security, all the insecurities that we have down here, and they were our slave master.
Well,
what we must ensure is that they don't put us back into slavery.
Which is correct.
So we have to make sure that we team up on them now.
Yeah, which is what is happening in Africa.
Well,
because let me tell you this, and I'm going to talk one more point and I'm gone. Look at this radio station, how diversified it is. And when you're here, you're getting limited advertisement. You know that the political system in Jamaica is picking out who they give certain ads and who they don't give certain ads.
Yes, sir. It was,
and all of those
yes, sir. It was always the case. That's why you cannot build your business model around any dependence on government patronage, because you then have to give them political patronage.
Exactly. That is why now you have to try and have your own product in the market in such a diversified manner.
You're absolutely right, Neville.
Everybody out there to skill up.
Absolutely. And learn to invest with one another and work together so that the wealth can be distributed fairly amongst our communities.
Because you're going to have to manage your time better, your stress better, your risk better, and your money better.
Yep.
Take
all right,
care.
My brother. Thank you so much. See you on Wednesday.
See you on Wednesday.
Yes, I'm looking up for you.
Thank you, brother Neville.
Yes, respect, Pastor.
All right. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. I think Mary was trying to call us back.
Yeah, but
all right, let's hear another call.
It makes a very important point, because one of the things that people don't recognize the importance of partnership and collaboration within one another, within families, within communities. So the multiplier effect in terms of money spent.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Yeah, good morning, Mrs. Clarence.
How are you, brother?
Yeah, good morning, Pastor.
Morning, Ras. How are you doing?
Yeah, morning to all the listeners. Yeah, I'm good. Pastor. How much the new parliament is going to cost?
The new parliament building?
Yeah.
Because it was, I think it started, but I don't know. We've been double checking. It was a big price tag though. It was a big price tag. And people are saying, why use the money to set that up when you can use the money in another way to do it? Like one of the things I've put on record, like this $274 billion US bypass in Montego Bay versus the $30 billion one that is proposed that will help to ease the traffic burden in Kingston, the Metro Rail. And I'm saying, come on, let's do some economies of scale in terms of the return on investment, in terms of what those will do for you. But, you know, to my own mind, what drives some of the projects in our country is about people's so-called legacy and not the people. And I want somebody to give me a different opinion on that.
So why did you ask for that figure? What's on your mind?
Well, you see, it's the same thing, Pastor. Explain it.
Okay.
You see, when you look on everything, you know, people passing laws, pushing up laws on gunman and crime and stuff like that. And I don't hear no law pushing up on corruption. You know what I mean? And corruption, Jamaica costs every year $100 billion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you look at the school, the corruption money, the education money going through corruption and all of that.
Yeah.
Because it leads to the youth, them don't get good education, and because you lead you them to crime and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you look, we have a parliament already, and we people just spend 2 hours a day at that parliament. 2 hours a day, 2 times a week, sometimes. And we're looking at billions of dollars, right, to build our next parliament. And the money could use and do something
more beneficial.
There is no law passing for corruption. You're not even here. You're not hear about corruption. And corruption are the most thing we have much of the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we are waiting to see what they do with the amendments to the whistleblower legislation and the Integrity Commission Act to see if there is some sincerity and genuine intent to put laws in place that make a difference. All right, my brother.
Blow whistle till God comes.
Yeah.
If nobody not charged, and nobody not go to prison.
Yeah. And so that is at the heart of some of the commitment, some of the submissions and objections that we've put on record. Thanks, brother.
Anyway, see if you can find out how much that parliament cost.
All right, Pastor is on it. Okay. Thank you very much. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection. Good morning. Welcome. All right, that gives me an opportunity to make a point that's been of concern to me. In Miramar, Florida, they are celebrating Reggae Month like nobody's business. What are the things happening in Jamaica for Reggae Month or in celebration of our very own music? Good morning. Online. Welcome to the Morning Connection. Yes, Mary.
You know what happened?
We just heard an unpleasant sound and you were gone.
Yes. You know, when it comes to, you said something about my case didn't have anything to do with women also, you know.
No, I didn't say that.
What?
The point. Let me tell you the point I made, Mary, so you can respond to it. Pastor had made a point about.
Yeah, I heard it, Mrs. Lawrence. I heard. But I just explaining, all right? Or you can go ahead, all right? Because you know the time and so. Okay, go ahead.
No, Mary, make your point.
Yeah, what happened, it had nothing to do with women. It was the number one job that he told me over a 20-odd year period from the first day we spoke that he wanted. And when time came for promotion, he was out of it completely. He was a general manager for 8 years and they upgraded to senior. He was general manager credit for 8 years and the promotion he got was upgrading it to senior credit manager. Whilst all these other people got promoted over him, one person that he was boss for this person for 8 years, and then the person became boss for him in head office and he couldn't deal with it. So that was the problem. It had nothing to do with women or anything, right? And if women were out there, it was women and men, because after the incident, I learned that he was bisexual. I didn't know. So that's where his money was going.
So you had said on a prior occasion that when you met him, he was not of a standard or a level of accomplishment or even appearance.
One
that
pair of pants, 3 work shirts, etc., and you know
and that you built him up.
Right.
So that's the point.
That a lot of people, not only him, men and women and children, even until today. Last week, Sister Doreen said to me, Sister Mary, you have to stop giving away money. So everybody come, Auntie Mary or Sister Mary, I need bus fare. Nobody comes into this apartment. 9 out of 10 people that come into this apartment never leave without something.
So
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the point that we were making is that
anything to do with any women. If they were there, there were men and women, and I wasn't aware of it.
Mary, no one was saying that it had anything to do with women. Just so you're clear.
No, Mrs. Lawrence and the word Pastor Percy. My case was tried about. I wanted his money.
Okay.
And his house, when I had 3 properties at the time of the incident, and they formulated that story. This is how this same boss that drew my attention and said that he heard things weren't working well, and we would have to speak one day.
All right. So we were just making it.
Was tried. 1 second. The case was tried as murder, and after 10 years going through the Privy Council and back to the Governor General, then it was tried as domestic violence now.
And you were able to come home.
The sentence was too excessive, and the publicity, and it was reduced. So it was a strategy that they worked. So this is how the system stays.
All right, Mary. Thanks so much.
So I have built a lot of people. I had some women friends, some stewardesses friends, and I encouraged them to buy places. And today in the 70s. Today, they value $40 million. So I've built a lot of people.
All right, Mary. Continue doing so, my dear. And thanks for sharing your story with us. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, Florence.
How are you, sir?
Yeah, morning, Pastor.
Morning, sir. How you doing?
Yeah, man. You know, I believe in you guys. That's the reason I call. Yeah, man, I believe. I'm happy to know what's you know.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah. But you know, Miss Florence and Pastor, you know what I think we realize in this country is that the people who you hear speak out against corruption the most. Are the people who are going to cover up corruption.
Well,
we find that out to myself. Yeah.
Well, I hope whatever you found out, you'll find a way to share it so that we can make a difference.
All right, yes. Something to share with you guys this morning. Listen, never read. Me just write it down for a little piece of paper here. That me not left out nothing. You understand?
Yeah.
It starts by saying, because of special treatment to the regional director for Northeast Regional Health Authority, Miss Fabian Lam, the public defender is unable to discharge her functions despite I have a serious medical condition that gets worse daily. You hear that?
Who has the serious medical condition? You do?
Yes, that gets worse daily. I had complained to Professor Trevor Monroe at National Integrity Action, and I also gave him a copy of the letter from the public defender to Miss Lam. I had also asked Professor Trevor Monroe to speak out on the matter and to call for the removal of the public defender. Because Section 5 of, I'll let you know Section 5 of the Public Defender Interim Act 2000 say that the public defender may be removed from his office only for inability to discharge the functions of his office, whether arising from infirmity of body or mind or any other cause, or from misbehavior. That part is vacated. The part that said whether arising from infirmity of body or mind or any other cause,
including misbehavior.
And then it go on to say or from misbehavior, and it continues. It continues. So when I visit our car NIA and try to speak out on the matter, I came upon strong resistance, very strong resistance. Yeah. So right now, I will play you hear everything clear.
Yeah, man, I did. But I have no knowledge of the circumstances. And if it's private and you don't want to say it on air, that's no problem.
It is not private, you know.
Okay.
It is my fractured left elbow that I received inadequate treatment and at St. Anne's Bay Hospital.
At St. Anne's Bay?
Okay. Hospital, yeah.
And so you have a complaint in medical negligence against the hospital?
Yeah, to the public defender to come the matter under the public defender interim act.
Yeah, but have you had a lawsuit filed to get damages or compensation?
No, reach that. I just the public defender.
So how long ago you made that report to the public defender?
More than a year now.
But you know, you've been reading the act, so you know that the public defender can't pursue the claim to get money for you unless she's able to persuade them to do a settlement. She could only, in the end, recommend for you to file a lawsuit.
No, my problem is the public defender took on the matter under the Public Defender Interim Act.
Yes.
Instead of the public defender summoned the regional director to investigate the matter, and provide their findings at a specific time. The regional director was so confident he will do investigation and provide us with the findings. So when I call the officer, the public defender, them tell me, say, I have to wait, and then I hear nothing. How can you take on a legal matter here or tell the public, the defendant? Because the regional director know that the defendant, and I will tell the defendant, say, confidence. You will do your investigation. When you have a medical condition, you get your receipt.
Yes. So,
So I believe she breach, as I say, section 4, 5, I think it's 4 of section 5 of the Act.
So let me ask you.
She was unable to discharge her function.
So let me ask you, have you sought legal advice outside of just going to the public defender? Or?
No, I'm not sought no legal advice.
I would suggest suggest that you do, because the public defender, what the public defender does would have worked if she had succeeded in getting the authorities at the hospital to look at your case, accept that they are wrong, and deal with it.
Well, what I'm saying is that the public defender give the hospital no time for is unable to discharge her function. So the hospital, she should not give the defendant no time. The defendant has to get a time by which to respond.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
The defendant cannot be allowed to respond at his own letter.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you now, that even to call the hospital, the defendant would be wrong in this case, because the public defender does not have that position in law. No, you're describing the hospital as the defendant and saying the defendant needs time.
Yes.
I think you would be well suited to get some professional advice and to take a more direct approach to getting your situation cared for, because sometimes when you are slow in addressing your legal rights like that and the situation worsens because of your failure to act, you might have a different kind of problem.
Sorry, but you are my problem.
Yes.
He's a anti-corruption watchdog. Them say them anti-corruption watchdog. When they check the documents, nice, sweet and nice, everything nice. And know when them to provide them to do what they have to do. It's like them not even when you go there, them tell me kind of thing like I resist me, and then now welcome me, and
because it may not be a corruption issue, and it may well be that persons engage in the discussion with you thinking it's corruption, and they don't have the I'm gonna say the courage to tell you plainly that they don't think it is corruption, simply because it could be like that, because I'm listening to you and I don't see corruption yet. I don't think it has gone.
I want to that your number. I was gonna leave my number.
All right, leave your number with the engineer, because I'm interested in what's happening to you, but I don't want to say more on air than needs be without certain other information. All right, my brother, leave your number and we can speak. Yes, okay.
No problem with that.
All right, no worries. Thank you very much. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, Miss Smith.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Pastor.
Morning, how you do?
I do bad, man. I see him blind now on National Radio County, man. I Westmoreland.
Good to hear from you.
Yeah, I know you're blind, but how are you feeling about what's happening in Westmoreland now with this Zozo or whatever it is? What are you hearing on the ground? Okay, but what about the people related to you? What them saying?
All right, I'm going to release you and ask you. So why did you call us this morning? Just to say hello to us?
No, I need to get the number for Bishop Slidemare's office. You know the number for my office?
Oh, in regards to disabilities, are you registered with the Council for Disabilities? Because that's one of the things that you need to be doing now, you know. That everybody who has a disability needs to be registered with the Council on Disabilities. So if you leave your number...
I registered from 2020 to 14 October.
Okay, all right. So now...
And I need to get, because I did apply for the grant that they did out.
You don't get any yet?
But I never get in because when I call and then find out that my paper never reach on time, and I have to go back again, go do it last year, September, again, the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
And January, then call me and say them find the paper then that me submit now the first time, and then find some apply for the money, so they call me and ask me for me TRN number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they don't get back to me, so we don't like get in touch with Mr. Floyd Morris.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I do have a means of contacting Mr. Morris. I don't know if that's the number he would give you, so I'm going to reach out to him. I have your number. We still have your number, but for just to be on the safe side, you can leave it with the engineer again, and I'll put the two of you in contact with each other.
Okay.
All right.
If Minister Labor
okay, and I see him disability have this number.
We don't know yet.
I don't know. I'm gonna make sure that I get a number so you can have access to Mr. Morris, and then with whatever other number you need, we could get you a number for that that office that Pastor was telling you about. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. So give your number to the engineer again for me, please.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
1, 2, 3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
It's my station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Melody in our voice. Kemisha plays the music nice. Melody in our voice. Kemisha full of vibes. Best FM run the town. Yes, I run the town. Hear me loud and clear. They run the country and the town. Or the far and near. Bless the love into to Empress Kemisha on Best FM, and it's all about the reset, Mondays to Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. on Best FM. Keep it locked. This is Warrior King, the Black Emperor. Come on, tune in.
Vision Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hackett Park Road. Vision Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back, and to the caller on the line. Welcome to the Morning Connection. Good morning.
Hi, morning.
Good morning.
Hi. Oh, Corey.
Just the man Pastor was looking for.
Hey, man, how you doing, man?
We're good, man. The $919 billion budget.
Well, I haven't got my hands on the documentation as yet. I went to the Parliament on Friday to get it, but I never have any available at the time because they must check back today.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to check back today and see the line by line.
What has struck me, it is very alarming to see a marginal increase in the budget of 2.9% thereabouts.
So not even dealing with inflation.
Yeah, and I'm not even thinking about Jamaica right now. I'm looking outside Jamaica and the different things that have been happening outside Jamaica. Did you know that almost all markets traded down on Friday because of the inflation numbers coming out of America and the rate hike expected this week?
Say about 7. I'm going to get about 7 this year in the US.
And also the tensions in Russia, which could have a very deleterious impact on oil prices.
Mm-hmm.
I am seeing that, but I don't know if the minister has seen that.
Does the minister see anything, my friend? Even in terms of what is happening internationally? I put something on the table, and I've listened to other commenters commentators doing the same thing to say, okay, the PNP had introduced another tax on gas, and then the JLP added another one. The fact is that oil impacts every sector in the society, and it is a sure way of collecting tax. But if you're really serious about bringing ease and causing growth to things, you probably might say, okay, let us move this tax back a little bit and see what the effect will be in terms of the flow in the economy. That's one of the things on the ground. So you are right, because we knew inflation in the U.S. is like at a 40-year high, which is about 8.5% or something like that.
7.5.
Yeah, so the job numbers down too. So
can I say something that will sound very cynical to the two of you? The only persons who take the budget seriously are the commentators, and maybe not even them, but people like, in this conversation. We know that despite what is put on paper and spoken about in the House, the government, the Minister of Finance specifically, they are going to do whatever they feel they have to do and then come back and catch us up later. So you see a budget that is more to, I don't know.
That's $7.5 billion for a new parliament building.
I don't know who it is meant to who it is speaking to. But at the end of the day, as you rightly say, there are some international factors that are going to change the pitch. And he knows that, but he's to just come to us and do something that is realistic and honest seems to be outside the capacity of our leaders.
And I think also that the BOJ government needs to tender his resignation.
Well, I was going to say something, but yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because at this time, I do not see why it's so hard to do some quantitative easing for Jamaican dollars and a reversal of it for US dollars.
So that's to my point. They have an agenda which they meet and they do whatever they have to, and those who think that it is responsive to our needs.
A transaction happening now with Sagicor Bank that seemed to me to be a bit shady.
This is the one with Sagicor Bank and with Sagicor Bank and Alliance. Oh yes, my dear. Talk about conflict. About conflict. The same bank that pulled the people license is sanctioning a sale of the asset to the company that the head of the bank used to run.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he has to sign off on it.
And he's the one signing off on it. Them pull the license and they're selling it to what I would say is a connected party.
Major conflict of interest.
I think some investigation needs to happen where that is concerned. I'm going to try to get in contact with Mr. Julian Robinson about the matter.
All right, sir. I applaud you for that. And you know what? We probably should say something as well to the Integrity Commission.
Mm-hmm.
See what they do about it. I mean, it is a plain situation of conflict. Anyway, thanks very much, Corey. When you get the papers and you can give a more, in-depth commentary, give us a call.
All right, no problem.
Cool. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, all right.
Good morning, sir. How you do?
Good, and Pastor P. How are you now?
I am very good, man.
My brother, I'm glad. It seems like the Prime Minister hasn't got the memo.
Which memo that, my brother?
That tells you that it's over. It's over. The beginning of the end.
Okay, all right.
This absence of the Prime Minister is alarming all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
All those who are steadfast, who were under the pseudoscience that they promoted all along the field, have finally submitted. Boris Johnson, and I know you're in Macron. People have more to lose, who have experienced greater level of death and devastation.
Yes.
I've seen that we must treat this disease as a pandemic that is now, and remove the restrictions on our people.
Listen to the people.
Yes, we need to do that. The masking of our children is the greatest atrocity ever committed against our children since slavery. The masking of our children in school, when the science that these people promote is saying that there's no threat for the children. Asymptomatic, they do not pass on the disease.
And whatever might be said about Jamaicans and who educated and who's not educated,
they're not fools.
That poll which was done, Bill Johnson's poll, shows the same position, particularly as regards the children. Majority of Jamaicans are against vaccination of the children.
Yeah,
it was what they spoke to specifically.
Let's hope that the Prime Minister opening up a school after midterm will involve complete freedom of our children to interact and to build their social intelligence.
And that's important, because even polls that have come out, that polls research has said that they've tested children, and they say in terms of their IQ decreased by 20% because of what has happened in the pandemic. You mask them, you lock them up, they're not interacting. And then even in the Caribbean, there's a gentleman who came out earlier and says there is no need to lock down school. That's what he said. None.
All leading scientists across the globe.
Yeah, so no need to lock down schools. Yeah.
And even those that were skeptic about everything you said was conspiracy and all of that, no confirming conspiracy.
Yeah.
So what we see here is really a blessing from the Almighty.
True.
With Omicron.
Omicron.
We call it Omicron.
He has intervened.
Yes, that's what he has done. That's what he has done. That's what he has done. Some Jamaicans call it Omnicorn. No, Omnicorn usually make porridge with.
Oh, how many?
Omnicorn, yeah.
And free us from this tyranny.
Yeah.
And give us an avenue where we can see a brighter light. We don't need to conform to this tyranny no more.
True.
So let us stand up, people. Let us take care of ourselves. Let us take the responsibility to ourselves to take care of ourselves.
True.
We're all for that.
Remove fear.
Yeah.
That is killing us too.
Yeah.
And by the way, do you know that we have mouth disease? Rampant?
Yes. You mean foot to mouth disease, because of what that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The children especially.
Mouth. Yeah, it's mashing up the dentures of the children, creating cavities where there are none, and bad breath, and then it all transmitting to a mental weakness. It's about physical and mental.
That's what's happening.
And it's wicked to our children and to my grandchildren.
Yes, well, for the parents who don't, there are some things that I will let you take certain liberties with me, but when it comes to my child, I draw the line.
I remember as a caller, somebody had come and said, don't use our children as
guinea pigs.
You remember that? And everybody jumped down.
Yes. I must say that I'm saddened by the attitude of these professors, the people who depend on to lead us properly, to give us the right facts and to lead us along all things that we do. I'm disappointed. They have been harping on fear. Not about care.
Wow.
Initially, when you get diagnosed, how you get out of it, or you delay the disease progression. And they don't spend time telling us that. No study has been done in our country over the last 2 years to help us to inform policy as we go along.
True.
As the COVID runs through our society from the science.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you for your input.
Fairly well, brother and sister.
Yes, thank you. All right. Pastor Percival.
Yes, ma'am.
There's been a rash of murders across the country over the weekend. I'm not one to sort of be sponge drunk that you don't even mention these things. 3 persons killed in Lilliput, including a 17-year-old boy.
The woman
2 separate shooting incidents in Lilliput. And then there's the woman in Linstead.
And that was
and
true.
Then there's and then there's the young boy who committed suicide, it seems like, with his. We are being soaked in blood.
And the soaking in blood, as we've mentioned on this program, innocent blood. And so I'm making a cry out to the church community in these areas to do what they know needs to be done in terms of helping to bring about solace to the persons. But
and the spiritual warfare that is needed to retake those communities, because demonic forces have pretty much overwhelmed some communities to the west, in the west. I mean, that lady calling a radio program to say we are afraid.
Yes.
Her daughter was robbed. 3 police stations, she reported no response.
The police are even overwhelmed themselves too in what they're seeing on the ground.
Yeah,
we have to cry out.
Yeah.
And we have to act, because it's the simple things. We talk about whistleblowing. Somebody said, and we repeat it, guns do not kill. It's the person behind the gun that kills.
Yeah.
And there was an initiative, I mentioned it here, where somebody says, all right, pray for transformation of hearts, the person who is pulling the gun. And it was if every church would take somebody who's so-called wanted, and begin to pray for them in terms of the transformation of heart. Because this goes back, beyond the laws that act as deterrent, the social cohesion that needs to come back. It takes just one person to pull the trigger. And so if we can target those persons in terms of spiritual warfare, in terms of change, in terms of communities, we'll begin to see the change, I think, that is needed. But it's time for people to arise with all of the things that are happening. Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you, if we don't do something about it, it is going to overwhelm us. So
we have to do.
That's the music you want?
Yeah, the natural mystic
flowing through the air. February is winding rapidly towards its close. This is the month in which we are celebrating Black and music and so on and so forth. And we're seeing a lot more attention being paid to reggae music by our neighbor to the north than you are even seeing in Jamaica. And that is disturbing, and we need to do something about it. But above all else, this is Jamaica's 60th. And whether we are pleased with our progress or not, those of us who care about Jamaica, those of us who acknowledge that Jamaica has value and has a future, we need to start applying our minds to how we are going to acknowledge this major milestone age, set a course on the things we want to do and accomplish. Don't feel that it is the government that must lead and it's the government that must do these things. It is our country. We are equally entitled to plan for the acknowledgement. I don't know if celebration is the right word, but it is within our remit to plan for the acknowledgement of this age. And so I am casting my mind about coming up with some ideas on how we can create a network of events in acknowledgement of Jamaica 60. Just some special initiatives and partnerships that we can call on and draw on, so that we're not just left with whatever it is that the Ministry of Cultural Affairs, we're not left with just whatever she feels like doing. And I don't mean to be disparaging, but I don't often get a sense of great inclusiveness and any great vision coming out of that ministry. Even some of these issues that are gender related and so on. Very concerned that we are not getting the best. So rather than sit down and look at it and say, why aren't they doing this or why aren't they doing that?
Let us get up and
do something. Our theme for this February is, what is it? Arise?
Arise, ye mighty race. Mighty race. Up you mighty race.
Up you mighty race, accomplish what you will.
And traditions.
Yes. So we have a tradition of independent thinking and of establishing ownership and moving with authority. That certainly is my personal tradition.
And that's what we have to do, because you make an important
can do better.
Point. Can you imagine as we move towards our 60th celebration in August, and if in every community, separate and apart from the government, people are there planning stuff.
Planning something. Something. Yes, man. It is. Don't have to be big.
No.
It's your project. That's what we want to launch.
That's what we're calling for.
A movement across there. And if Best FM need to be the
collection,
the banner bearer,
to say,
so be it.
Something here.
We're going to do something at the community level to acknowledge that this country is 60 years old.
And it's our country.
And we want better moving forward.
It's our country.
Yeah.
Somebody said, let's big it up.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, you're having a chat going on here.
Let's Jamaica. Yes, but it says it's our country. Let us build it.
That's pretty cool, Pastor Percival.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we are at that time of the day. We've got 10 minutes to go. I want to be sure I say all of my thank yous. I'm really, really very grateful for all of the support and the assistance that we get with the different things Pastor Percy and I set our minds to. We know that it is team effort. And don't feel that because you are the silent member on the team that your presence is less appreciated. I want to know that the work we're doing here is reaching as far as it can. And if we say something that is of value, repeat it to somebody who can be blessed by it. So thanks for the listeners online, those who call, those who just participate, nodding their head and saying, you know what, this is something good going on here.
With me. That's not true.
Yes.
Percy, I did not talk foolishness. That's something we can do.
We could do this.
Yeah.
And as we part from you this morning, please start applying your minds to your Jamaica 60 project or initiative, whatever it is. If we can, we're going to create like a page for it or something. Yeah. Jamaica 60, tell us about your project, and then we can take pictures. And even if you do your project now, we know it's one whole year we have to be 60, so you can do your project, take some pictures, and we will find a way to celebrate the fact that we are alive at a time when great change is occurring and we have an opportunity to make a mark, a small mark. Everybody's talking about it, world over. The United Nations is trying to make a mark. Humanity, we were here. Whether it is an existentialist crisis we're going through, or we think we're approaching the end of time, and another set of people are gonna pour over the ashes and say, what did these people do? Let there be a mark. Let there be a mark that we have made, like a time capsule, yes. To those who are online, thank you so much for sharing with us. And Just Servant, say, I got divorced several times and I always find a new lover. One relationship at a time for I could not have said it better, one at a time. Thanks very much. What's the music that we're leaving with? While you think about that, don't forget, Kamisha is going to join us tomorrow, so if we can talk about that seminar or webinar that she's planning. Very important. Get your pen and paper ready in case you need to make a note of some.